Wow. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of the MCU rewatch analysis. I know you guys have been waiting for this episode to drop. I
Yep.
get all the DMs and all the tweets, so I'm like, "Yo, calm
Yep.
down, man.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
get to it. We have our own lives. We're doing some shit."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we've been having a blast so far rewatching this shit, and let us know what you guys learned um, since we started. New things that you never saw before, like the power of the gods, or callbacks, or odes and references, whatever it is. But we're here to bring you some more. This is Push Block Chronicles. I think we should change our name because there's a Push Block Gaming that I just found
Yeah, let's change the name.
out.
That's hilarious. And I
Chat
know
or
of Push Block
stream.
Gaming too. That's funny.
Let us know what should the new name be, or if we can just keep PBC and
Yeah.
peanut butter chocolate. I don't know. We'll think of something. Um, yeah. So this is PBC.
I'm
let's
dead.
let's start off with Iron Man 3.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's talk
Yes.
about this. First and foremost, were you excited, and
No.
did you feel any different after watching it?
I was not excited. I felt a little bit different after watching it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some cool details that you don't see in the future MCUs
Mm-hmm.
that the actors get to portray in the character.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean he was one of the biggest callbacks, right? Like
Yeah.
the little kid in spoilers, guys.
What's his
Tony
name?
dies.
Rip.
I forgot his name. Little kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
comes
Yeah.
back, and even at the theater, I was like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
thought
had to
it
go home
was.
and look it up and who's that kid?
Yeah, who's that kid? And yeah, he definitely grew up, and we got to see him super young in this one, which we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But yeah, I agree with you. Going into this, I was kind of expecting it to be like below average, but then after much thinking, and obviously a good amount of kush, have come to conclusions of certain things. Guys, let me know if I went too deep with some of these these things, because this is my hot box session where I just look at my notes and I smoke a doobie and write, and then I. Who's that writer again that says you write you write under the influence but you edit sober? I kind of
Hemingway?
yeah.
Ernest Hemingway.
Was it Ernest Hemingway?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, that guy ate some fucked up shit. So, um, he's one of the sole reasons why a lot of
Oh yeah.
species have been gone
Oh yeah.
because he liked to eat them.
Because he's a man.
Yeah, I mean
He's a man's man.
he said some wise things too, but yeah, that was one of them for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so that's what I did, and hopefully you guys aren't too weirded out by some of the things that I've noticed. So we're gonna go try to go scene by scene with the notes I have, and then obviously Ray, if you have something, um, dive in there, like Jeremiah. What was that? Chris Brown, whatever. So this is Iron Man 3, directed by Shane Black. Have you heard of Shane Black before?
yeah. Did he do Star Trek or
I'm
did he
not
do Star
sure.
Wars?
No, I think that's a different guy. The only movie I know that he made other than this one is The Nice Guys
I don't know that.
with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. I thought it was pretty good, kind of funny. Sort of has the same type of trope as the other ones, but so this one is like extra funny compared to Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 1. They really got, you know, Tony snarky and attitude uh, right. So the opening
Yeah.
song is Blue by Eiffel 65, which is when he was in Switzerland in 1997. This is like where we find out that Tony is the one narrating the story. And so we gotta base it off that this is pretty much like most of the viewpoints in the story is from Tony. Like even when he's far into that town out of nowhere, we don't really know what's going on back home. It's because he's the one telling this story, so it's usually from his point of view. We learned that, and we also learned that this is pretty much the foundation of the movie is this scene right here where all his problems started, right? Where he's like talking about what is it again? You make your own demons. He was talking about a quote or something like that. And so it opens with Blue by Eiffel 65. I don't know if this is in relation to the mood that he's in the entire movie, or it's because the song is about aliens and he's dealing with PTSD from aliens.
Word.
Uh,
Very interesting. Hey,
reaching too far, reaching too
wow,
far.
this is the song. This is an intro song, like stream. Are you serious?
Okay. So the opening scene is the party scene, and we see Jensen,
Yeah.
who mentions this specific moment in Iron Man 1, and of course, Tony brushes him off the same way as he did in this movie. And then we get to meet the lady, what's her name? Maya, who plays a pivotal point in the Extremis development later on. And of
Yep.
course, the big bad guy, uh, Guy
Aldridge.
Pearce, Aldrich Killian. He looks a
Wow.
little,
Guy Pearce.
yeah, he looks a little crazy in
Yeah.
this one. He would play like the perfect Wesker, in my
Yeah, for
opinion.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
he would be a
Yeah,
dope Wesker. If
for
they ever
sure.
make like a Resident Evil like super live action, man,
Yeah.
I want to see that guy in the trench coat saying things like "over here."
Over here.
um, and then he also promised him to meet on the roof, which is sort of like a Tony trope.
Yeah.
Um, not only promising people, but meeting people on the roof. He did that with Pepper,
Yeah.
and yeah. So he did it dirty. He did Aldrich dirty in this one,
Yeah.
right?
And he didn't even accept the cards. I noticed that now that you bring it up.
Yeah, yeah. That was
Yeah.
another ode to him not like to be handed things.
That's so weird. I still don't understand.
and
Just just to set it up. Okay.
and then Maya took it, which is another big thing because she ends up working for Killian, and so their
Yeah.
hatred for both how they were treated by Tony Stark kind of fueled this. We'll talk about that a little bit later on when I dove in to some marijuana wisdom.
Ooh.
Should we call that?
The special herb.
Yeah, the burning bush.
Yeah.
Um, we
It's
also,
like the Black Panther herb.
yeah, pretty much, burn it all.
Yeah, which is
Um,
weird, stream,
yeah,
that
like
they made an herb that made them strong.
you sound like Willie Nelson right now. But in the hotel room, we get a glimpse of the
Yeah,
extremis,
yeah,
which she taken from plants, and I guess this is sort of the first stage of trials that they're doing it, and it does the same thing. It explodes, it regenerates limbs back, and extremis is actually from a pretty big comic line for Tony. He had it in the comics. It almost killed him. I'm not really sure. I'm not a comic book reader
wow,
like a lot of people are, but I do know that it sort of parallels what happened in the comic. Same with the girl; she's in the comic as well. Pretty crazy. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the intro. Fireworks started going, and Aldrich Killian is crying on the roof,
he's
waiting for
crying.
Tony.
Yeah, I
And
know
then
that's
this
so
is where the
sad.
burning hatred started. You know what I mean? So this is pretty much Tony's fault. There's no one else to blame
Yeah,
aside from
seriously.
hitting the girl from the back and leaving her a card that says "You know who I am." Like,
Yeah,
wow. Which is a sort of a callback to his "I am Iron Man" ending. That big ego, personality, jackass. Um, and then that's when he said, "I'm not that man anymore," right? Because he goes into present day, and
hmm
we see him in the man cave making some things. Um, Jarvis mentions that he's been awake for 72 hours and is still testing out his new suits, specifically with a Mark 42 already. So in Iron Man 2, do you remember where we left off in Mark's
probably four.
Mark 4?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So in that
Because
time, yeah,
how many suits were there?
there's the silver one, the big one, Mark 1,
Yep. And
Mark
then the paint
2.
job. Well, no, that's the same suit, I guess. Yeah, the
Yeah, I
silver
guess.
one is the Iron Patriot's same suit.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
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 So
Mark 4, you're right. The one that he jumps off the Avengers, that was the last suit he made. I think that was Mark 4.
true. I
Yeah,
see.
so So he already made like a shitload since
That's a
then.
lot. Yeah.
So that gives you a little clue as to what this movie is about in terms of Tony's mindset and like
Yeah.
the inner demons that he's trying to handle. You know what I mean? Because like, um, dude, you make a suit like fucking. Like I don't know how long it takes to make a suit. I've never made an Iron Man
Yo,
suit, ever, but
he's like Drake in the studio. He just keeps coming out with ideas. He's like, I don't want to be no Romeo.
yeah, it's just like, and as you see in the later on, it's kind of like quantity over quality
Yeah.
because every suit is just kind of like getting tossed around, and much like
Yeah.
actually Drake songs. I don't know. There has to be a better artist that can. That,
Well, it's like it is kind of like Drake songs because then people make memes out of Drake songs.
yeah, I gotta get
You know.
ridiculed on the daily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's true he does make a shitload of songs per album,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying all of them suck, but
Yeah.
you know,
Not all of them are great, but then like the ones that are good are like the Mark One armors, like Marvin's Room.
yeah, there's some
Yeah.
where it's like you don't want to say it's good, but then
Yeah.
it's like
It's good.
secretly when you're going home at 3 a.m. in the morning, you're like,
Yo, stream, where is he coming from that he has to leave at 3 a.m.? Let us know down there.
Came from
Cuffs to the
church. Came
XO.
from church because I went to confession. Because I'm a Christian. Um, this is where we also get to see an advancement in how Tony gets into his suit. It's much more automatic now. The
Yeah.
last thing we saw was the little armbands that he had, and this time he was injecting something into his blood. So I think those are like microchips or something, sensors, um, which is sort of, I guess, a little sneak peek at the final form of nanotech. Yeah, that's the girl right there. That's Maya, and is that like a is that like a equation that she's trying to solve
I
for?
have, I have no idea.
But yes,
Stream.
um,
What's that?
gotcha. So in the comics, the bleeding edge suit is actually just like the nanotech one, but that one is the bleeding edge comes out from his skin pores. So he actually
Ooh, X.
injected into his bloodstream the
That's
suit.
X.
Yeah, which is compared to the one in Endgame where it comes from the reactor, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sort of the
Or
same.
his jumpsuit as well.
All right, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. Cause he like fastens it, right, or whatever. Yeah, that was really
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Um,
Cool cloth to like metal. What the fuck? Like, come on, that's OP.
yeah, dude, you guys are G, man. Iron Man, like I just love how, like I love how much he learns from his past mistakes and just like keeps
Yeah,
getting better at it. Um,
and the
so,
sounds got better as well. Like, dug dug dug.
oh yeah, dude, compared to his like
Yeah,
mechanical clunkiness or whatever,
yeah, it's so
ridiculous, dude.
future.
Then we get to see the hacked Mandarin, which was like one of the most craziest segments in the entire movie.
Yeah,
Like, dude, that monologue by Ben
yeah,
Kingsley as the Mandarin was. I was really shitty the way it ended up, but
yeah,
this was
yeah.
like deceiving as fuck. Like,
Oh
this was
man,
dope to hear him talk about like pretty much the U.S. and how it has messed up the Middle East, and some of
yeah,
those things that he mentioned are real, actual historical
yeah,
massacres done by like the U.S. government.
yeah.
Uh,
Iran,
yep. Uh,
Afghanistan. Come on.
yeah. And right now, current state of events with the U.S. This is uh, sadly and unfortunately not entirely shocking because
Yeah,
they're kind of right now they're kind of known as jackasses.
yeah.
Like you
Well,
were
they're
playing
coming out
Risk,
as
like he's the asshole player.
yeah,
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Flash,
Um,
Flash and Spider Man. The one that wasn't good.
the one that wasn't good.
Yeah, with you know what we're talking about.
Ugh. But yeah, uh, really cool Mandarin. Even though we got tricked, but at least we got to see something. Like if they're able to do this type of thing, then what possibilities could they have? But I did read up on it a little bit, and Mandarin was sort of a touchy subject for them because in the comics Mandarin was like super stereotyped,
The Chinese.
like yeah, there
Yeah,
were a lot of
yeah,
like
yeah.
bad Chinese stuff about him, so they didn't want to portray him the same way.
Yeah.
And maybe they got it right this time because he is actually coming out. Um,
Yeah. Well, you remember actually around that time, I remember reading up about that kind of like the issues surrounding it because at this point, after the Avengers had come out,
mhm.
um, the whole franchise for China was like there was a huge viewership, and then they didn't want to upset
Mm,
the Chinese
mm.
viewership with the Mandarin,
They didn't want to
so they
ruin
did a
that
little
streak.
fake. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess so. Yeah, I guess smart move. It was, I'm not saying that it wasn't like successful as it is now, but it was sort of a pretty young saga at the moment, and they didn't want to step on the wrong toes. Walking
yeah,
eggshells a little bit. And now I think, and I'm pretty confident in their future execution for Shang-Chi
yeah.
that they're not gonna offend anybody. I mean,
Sure,
Black
hopefully.
Panther, as long as you have the right production, you know what I mean? Where it's like if it's made by the right people, then
Yeah,
then it's approved by the right people. You know what I mean?
yeah.
As long as
I wish it would like be in a real like Chinese style kind of movie. Remember, like when you used to live in the Philippines and you watch movies on TV with Chinese actors.
hmm.
They're literally like flying.
Oh yeah, dude. Like
They're
old
like
kung fu movies, those are dope.
Shenko, like walking on air kind of
Yeah.
shit,
I
and
hope so too. Yeah.
kung fu like was that Kung Fu Hustle, like that kind of shit. Like like cartoony ish, but then really sick.
Yeah, like DBZ style fighting where it's like
Oh, that would be sick.
X,
Yeah,
Kung Fu Hustle, man. That scene at night with the guy on the fucking guitar thing, and the shopkeepers come out, dude. That was like such a crazy scene, dude.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the tailor was a
yeah.
little bit flamboyant, but the guy's like,
It's all good.
dude, he had
It's
like the
like Fang.
rings on his thing. Yeah, he's like, fuck, fuck, fuck. And like a little X, the fucking
Yeah, yeah.
skeleton warriors coming out of the sound. Like, okay,
Oh my god. See, like that's the kind of shit we love to see. Bring us that.
exaggerate, because he looks like supers,
Yeah, yeah.
Hyper.
Together now.
Yeah. Um, so we get to see the Iron Patriot for the first time in this one. Another
Yeah,
remodel
yeah,
uh, for the War Machine, since Hammer Industries kind of did a bad job on this one. They're like, yeah, let's make AIM do it this time, and so they made it into. And it's a nice homage to the one from the comics, even though it doesn't really do anything to it
yeah.
in the comics. What
It's
Norman
just
Osborn
cosmetic.
piloted,
Oh, word.
some weird ass storyline.
Oh,
I don't know what it is.
interesting.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Loki, like a Captain America um, fusion, Captain America and Iron Man fusion. But I guess in this one, it's more propaganda than
Right.
actual utility of the
True.
suit. But it looks cool. What do you think about it? Is that like, would you rock that if you were
No.
War Machine? Yeah.
No,
No.
there are no flags, Captain. I have seen the future. There are no flags.
Ooh.
And what's crazy is in Endgame, the Iron Patriots, all the paint came off.
Oh, did it? What do you
I
mean?
think, because like he had the Iron Patriot armor, right? But then in Endgame, he had a different armor, like a really more advanced War Machine armor. But
Yeah,
then
yeah,
when he
yeah.
had to exit out of that armor, he went into the older Iron Patriot
Oh,
armor that had
oh,
its
yeah.
thing washed
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
like
he had
the
to
building
eject.
crashed on them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dude.
That's
Wow, that's
godlike,
fucking
dude.
crazy, guys. Let us know if you noticed that, because if you did it, you're blind.
Yep,
Fucking
yep, yep, yep.
stupid. Uh, just kidding, just kidding. No, I'm not. Tony fooled Pepper by thinking he was in the suit because he was too busy working and distract himself from what's
Yeah,
really bothering him. So this is
yeah,
a small step in the automated stage of his suits, which gets bigger by the end of the movie and gets huge later on in the MCU series.
yep.
Spoiler: Ultron. People are like, man, why'd you just tell me that? Like, come on, guys. All right, let's be real. Like, I feel bad for anybody who doesn't like Joy and doesn't like watching the MCU films because you guys are missing out on some like
Oh yeah,
hype shit.
for
Like,
sure. Come
some
on.
some people out there that just don't like the feeling of hype.
No.
It's like, why would you, you know?
Anti-hype. That's the worst. Worst kind of person.
Yeah, anti-hype, guys. Come
Boo.
on. The Shining is just as better as watching MCU films. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. If there's
Yeah, if
people
you
like us that can appreciate both, they're should be
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. Who are much more cultured.
Yeah, there's culture like spewing out of me sometimes.
That's true.
I can't control it.
Yep. Filipino, Mexicano. Da, 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 da,
Exactly.
da, da, da.
We can even be Hawaiian,
Yeah.
Polynesian, uh,
Indonesian.
Indonesian. We can even be First Nations, dude. Like,
Yep. Yeah,
we're,
dude. I get
Filipinos.
brother all the time.
Filipinos are like actual Skrulls.
Yep.
Like we're a
Yo,
secret
for
invasion, dude.
sure.
Yeah, for real.
For sure. We're up in your hospitals as
Yo.
nurses. You
um,
know us as Tita and Tito.
SST Tito. Um,
Yes, sir.
so right now it's kind of like not really a secret anymore that Tony is handling some stuff in terms of like the trauma that he saw in Endgame, which kind of sucks because if you really think about it, Tony is the only one who saw the whole ship in space out of everybody on Earth.
Yeah.
Everybody saw the army coming in, but the actual bigger picture, it was him that saw it, and now like kind of
Yeah.
like how do you talk to somebody?
You can't. Did he even talk to anyone about that?
This
Because
is
he
this is
didn't
the
he
movie,
didn't
right?
trust Shield, right?
Yeah. I guess this
Right.
is about the movie, like him talking to Hulk about the whole thing, right? Like, therapy wise, um,
True.
and like they can't possibly understand what he's going through, even if you tell them that, oh, yo, there was a big ass army behind that, and they're like, okay, buddy, so
Sure.
can you draw it? Yeah, can you show me
Yeah.
in a picture? Like, you know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah.
So Tony kind of keeps it to himself, and this is not a good look for somebody who's egotistical. This is the complete opposite. This is like uncharted emotional territory for him.
Yeah.
He has no idea. Like to him, he's always been about like, I can handle any situation. But now he's like doubting himself like super hard.
Yeah.
Then he gets into argument with Pepper and he says, he can't stop protecting the one that he can't live without. Right. Fitting because Pepper, he never has to live without Pepper because he died first. Right.
It's true.
Um,
Uh,
you know that meme of that guy.
yeah.
That's how
I
I felt.
still love you.
Oh
That's the
man.
best clip. I saw that like long ago.
Yeah, dude. I love how his son is like did not even crack. I would have died laughing.
Me too.
You know what I mean? But they still.
That shit was funny.
So we're about at this part now. Uh, when they were asleep, Tony had a panic attack in his sleep, and the suit started to defend Tony, uh, and tried to neutralize the first target beside him while he was asleep, and that was Pepper. Um,
That's crazy.
yeah, so I think
Scary.
um, that's how paranoid he was. You know what I mean? That all he had to do was program something in his heart. So like, if it beats this much, that means I'm in danger. Wherever
Yeah.
you are, you need to come and I love how the protocol that he used to disable the thing. It was like a sword thing. Remember? He's like using his hand. He's like, and the
Oh
guy just
yeah, I
like
wrote that on my
collapsed.
note. I was like, where is that? Uh, Pepper suiting up? No, where? What the fuck? Oh yeah, but I just thought it was weird. Did he really have to fucking do that?
Yeah, that was weird as fuck. I don't know. I thought it was like you can just voice automated it.
Yeah, there it is. Did he have to karate chop the suit like that?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah.
And we saw the heart thing go up when they were in the restaurant with Rhodey when he
Yeah.
went into the suit. He's like, "What's wrong with me, Jarvis? Am I having a heart attack?" He's like, "No, you're
Yeah.
having
Anxiety.
anxiety attacks." And he's like, "What
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck is an anxiety attack?" And then I guess that's where he programmed the suit. He's like, yo, if this happens again, that was fucked up.
True.
You need
Ooh,
to get me out of
upgrade,
there.
upgrade.
Do you have anything on your notes so far as we go
Uh,
through? I think.
I felt like this movie struggled to find like a conflict after the Avengers,
Mm,
um, that was like worthy of the third Iron Man movie. So everything's kind of like not jumbled in a way, but it's we don't get the standard like there's a threat, but because we never see that threat, that real threat that was bothering Tony until like the next Avenger movies, over and over.
right. Yeah.
So it's like a hard setup thing.
Yeah.
Such a hard setup.
Yeah. That's like you're setting up for like incoming's not coming until like 20 Marvel seconds, and you're like,
Yeah, exactly. And that's
yeah.
a that's a godlike set. You can't see that.
That actually ruins your timing. You can't
Yeah.
count. You know what I mean? You can't count 20 seconds down and then you do your thing. Nah, bro, that's not
Yeah.
happening. So
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that, and
Yeah.
I think that's why it didn't hit home run first time,
Yeah.
because the real threat to him for Tony in this movie was himself,
Yeah.
not just like self-inflicting thoughts, but like he kind of
Yeah.
made Killian who he was. He made Maya who she was. It was kind of
Yeah.
his fault. You know what I mean? So,
He creates demons.
yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Mm.
Yeah. That's Ultron and the rest.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
um, Pepper, when she's talking to Killian, oh, that scene, I hated him so much. Like
Oh, and he's
touching her,
like, this is the
touching him and
brain.
shit. Oh,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
off! Like,
yeah. Yeah. But that was sort of like, obviously that was meant to like
yeah,
irate us, right? Where it's like, oh, this guy's a fucking sneaky
yeah, snake.
jackass. He's
He
a
was
snake. Happy
sneaky
was
snake.
hilarious at that scene, trying to
Yeah.
work the camera, and and you kind of
Oh
see
shit.
Tony and Happy's relationship
Yeah,
a little bit more in that one, because like, I miss you, buddy. It's like, what are you doing now? It's like, oh, I'm the head of security. And I'm like, this is what I'm
yeah,
doing. It's like, yeah, you're
yeah.
securing the place. Like Tony still doesn't take him seriously. It's just like,
That's so funny. The best. I actually wrote that down as well. I love seeing Happy in the movies. He goes badge,
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 badge.
badge.
See the memo, guys? Come on, badge. Come on, guys,
Yeah,
badge.
that's so funny. Yeah,
And like, this is like, Happy is, man. That guy is character development, amazing director,
yeah,
except for Lion King, and
yeah. It's terrible.
yeah, just huge in this one. So
Yeah,
Happy almost dying is big,
yeah. It's huge.
because that's Tony's bodyguard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this guy's been there since day one, and as we saw also in the flashback in 1997 in Switzerland, he was being all John Travolta from
that
Pulp
was
Fiction in that one.
mad crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he kind of dove into Tony just like how the suit dove into Pepper in that scene.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
It's good.
um, and also Tony just lost Phil Coulson, so to him he
Yeah,
wasn't ready for another one. You know what I mean?
yeah.
This was gonna break him if he was gonna lose another dude.
That's
Um,
true.
and just like Phil Coulson, Happy was kind of like the assurance guy, the safety dude.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
time we see him, it's kind of like, oh, we're kind of like good in terms of if everything's gonna go all right. Happy's, you know, gonna figure
it's
it out.
true.
He's always there to help. Um,
That's true.
Tony makes a huge mistake by telling the whole world
His
where he lives.
address.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Why? Why would you do that?
That was a lot of anger because he just came out from the hospital. He's like, this Mandarin guy is fucking with me. He went after my buddy, um, and so he just felt like tough shit, and obviously, yes, regrets, huge regrets from that.
Rugrats.
And that's just another way of giving us a lesson where don't do things out of anger, because you're gonna
Oh
regret it
yeah.
later on. And if you let your emotions take over you, which is hilarious, because literally he's talking to Banner, which he has. That's what his issue was.
Yeah.
And so he made a huge mistake on that one, which we see the following day. Um, he gets attacked
Yep.
by fucking.
With the slowest missile in the world.
Yeah, to me, I was kind of questioning that, because it's like, man, that attack took a. Like, I'm not saying it took the longest time, but like,
Yeah,
where's the backup? Like
yeah,
wasn't Shield trying to do something with this, or the army or something like
yeah.
that? But
Didn't anyone see it in the fucking radar? Like,
yeah, there was a huge press outside your house just
yeah,
before the attack happened because the girl
yeah,
was there too, or whatever, right?
yeah. And why
Um,
isn't Rhodey looking after you? Like,
yeah, where was Rhodey?
yeah,
A lot of people are saying that AIM was part of the military, so they had to cover it up or something like that,
word.
which was true. I mean, the AIM was pretty much funding the military at that time, right? Especially with Iron Patriot and all that stuff. So maybe they pulled some strings, but then again, it wouldn't make for good narration because Tony would have been saved, and it's like, oh, okay, movie's done. That wasn't so bad. um, and he noticed that he puts a suit on Pepper, saves her from the rubble.
Yeah, that
Um,
was sick. That was
yeah,
sick. Yeah,
and
CG
then
is getting better and better.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And then she used her body to save Tony from the falling rocks, the same
yeah.
position that the automated AI also tried to contain her during the night
Yeah.
attack. So
Cool.
pretty crazy. This is foreshadow about to what happens later on in terms of Pepper saving Tony. Um, again, just like Iron Man 1. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. Tony's main suits got murked,
Yeah, that sucks. That was
exploded.
painful to see.
Yeah, yeah. And then he got sent into the ocean or the sea or whatever. But that was dope. The hand coming out and saving him.
That was
It's
sick.
kind of like self-assist type of
Yeah,
thing. You know what I mean? This guy, Tony, man, you're such a good anchor. He doesn't need an assist because he has himself. That's what it is.
sick. He throws his hand and grabs him.
Yeah.
He's
So
like,
this wouldn't have been possible if he really didn't upgrade his tech because
yeah,
you
yeah,
know if he still had the wrist thing, the hand would be able to come out, but it can't be automated by itself.
yeah.
So already a lot of things that saved him just because of what he's been doing. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I like about the movie, where it's like at least all the things that he was going through didn't go to waste. It saved him and gave him peace of mind or whatever. Because we get to see all those suits later on, bro. They're like lit.
That was
Shit
sick.
was
That
lit.
party,
Yeah, the party
the
was
house party.
Zach. Shout outs to House Party, man. That's
Yep,
crazy.
right there.
We're sponsored by House Party. They just sent me a package yesterday. Uh,
T-shirts.
Kush, actually.
Oh, nice,
So I'm just gonna say
nice.
whatever I want. I don't give a fuck. So Tony goes into the suit, knocks the fuck out because he's tired as fuck. 'Cause he got bodied, and Tony's now in Tennessee. Because if you notice when he was trying to figure out Happy's death, the last thing he told Jarvis was set a route for Tennessee because that's where the explosion was for the dog tag. And he
Yeah,
completely forgot. And he's like, "Why are we in Tennessee?" Jarvis is like, "I'm sorry." He's like, even Jarvis didn't even remember. He's like, "I don't. Shit, what happened? Too bad they didn't have a replay button, man. 'Cause that's what I just did. You know what I mean?"
wait, why are they in Tennessee?
Then the introduction to the kid comes into the scene. A lot of people
Yeah,
didn't like having a kid in the
yeah,
movie
hmm
because kids are usually annoying and they're just there to like.
yeah.
Because when people like when shows or TVs have kids, it's usually aimed for kids. So a lot of comic book viewers didn't like that much. But I thought he was nice, and this is sort of a test bed for the way he talks to Morgan Stark in the future,
Yeah,
of like, snarky and playful, teasing type of way. And the same thing with Peter Parker. I mean, this is sort of foreshadowing mentorship
true. That's
um,
true.
in the future that he
Right.
does to Peter. And maybe we get to see a little bit more about this kid too later on.
Oh, nice, nice interpretation.
Yeah, that's what I thought because I was like, oh, this guy, like he's like, where's my sandwich? Like he's just that's not how you normally talk to kids, and the way that the kid interacted with him is kind of like sort of the same way Morgan Stark does, where she doesn't take him seriously. Go to
True.
sleep or I'll burn all your toys. You know what I mean? Like, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, and the kid also acts like Tony's inner child um, of him being a tinkerer. He made
Yeah.
a potato gun, and his inner conscience because he's the one confronting him about the things. You know, did you see aliens? How did it felt like? You know what I mean? Um, like all the things that Tony didn't want to be asked about was asked from this kid, and the fact that it came from such an innocent mind, Tony can't blame him. So Tony just went into like an anxiety attack again in the middle of Tennessee. So, is that deep? Is that too deep?
That's very deep.
How deep is your love? How deep is your love?
Wow.
One thing I didn't like though was I don't know how Tony just miraculously found the mother of the guy who exploded in that bar.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so like there's a lot of holes in this area right
mm,
here.
yeah,
Because then yeah, I didn't even like honestly, I skimmed through this part because I was just like, where's the explosion? And then I got to the part where the lady who explodes finds Tony in the bar.
who explodes?
Yeah, the extremis agent
Okay, yeah,
um,
the girl with the burned
with the
face.
bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's where, because I was just like, this expose is so dry. This whole thing is so
This
dry.
guy said expose. Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little. That's where the movie staggered a little bit when they went to
Yeah.
Tennessee and Tony was sort of like helpless,
Yeah.
and I no one really wanted to see that side of Tony,
Yeah.
and so some of the
It
plot
was a
points was weird.
perfect time to go to the bathroom if you were in a theater.
If you were in the theater, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Like you could take a shit. Like a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
but
I
then this
stand
is
by
the
that.
part where we also get to finally see the abilities of the extremist goons, goon
Yeah.
squad.
That's
The
crazy.
woman, well, posing as the FBI. So we learned that their powers are super strength, and the bodies can heat up and melt shit,
That's that's crazy.
right? Because the guy melts that tower.
Yeah.
Um, it's heat
Kind of
or whatever. I
what
don't
kind of
really.
fucking power is this?
I don't. I'm not sure if that's what the extremist is in the comics as well.
I don't think
If
so.
it heats up,
Right?
I think it was just super strength. I'm not sure, guys.
Yeah.
Let us know if this is
Yeah.
something because even I don't kind of fully agree with what kind of weird ass power this is.
True.
Um, Tony gets another anxiety attack after finding out his suit wasn't charging properly, which is like you finding out your phone wasn't charging the entire time, and you're trying to
And
DM
you
the
left the
shorty.
house
Yeah, and your shorty's trying
for
to
a
call
trip.
you for like a 5 hour phone session. Hopefully some sexy talk, and
Oh
your phone's
no.
at 3%. You're like, bro,
Oh, that's the
my
worst.
cord is too short. Like I gotta, like this is not good. Look,
Yeah.
um, but he's the mechanic, right? So the kid
Yeah.
was the voice of reason. It's kind of like the inner kid where there's no gray area. It's just black and white. It's like, oh, that's your problem. Well, you can
Yeah.
build stuff. It's just build shit,
Yeah.
and just like that, Tony's like, this fucking kid's right.
Genius.
I gotta build shit. I love how he wait, what does he do after that? He goes into the Mandarin's house, right?
Yeah, he breaks into the mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
I love how he says goodbye to the kid. It's just very snarky way or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, are you cold? It's like, yeah, I can tell. Why? Because our hearts are. What's it again?
Or we're
Because we're
connected.
connected, and he just like zooms off, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Tony does a Home Alone MacGyver thing, where he, usual marbles on the floor make him slip, but
Yeah.
in a little bit more X way, creating his own tasers, creating his
Yeah.
own nullifying darts, or whatever.
Yeah. That was
And
cool.
this is sort of a parallel to Spider-Man a little bit, where he had to make his own suit, he had to make his own thing, and
Yeah.
so when Tony kind of saw that in Peter Parker, he's like, man, this kid's like me, where he's like, he'll find a way. He likes to build
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean? So I
Like
don't know.
the shooter, it was like, oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, the shooter, the
Yeah.
goggles or whatever, anything that
Yeah.
he can get by because Tony, like at that time, didn't have access to advanced shit, just like Spider-Man. He had to
Yeah,
make do.
that's
So
cool.
cool, but a little tacky.
Yeah, a little
Uh,
bit.
and I think that's one of the main reasons why people didn't like this film because Tony hardly was in a suit for the
Yeah,
entire movie. He was kind of
yeah,
like by himself. Um,
yeah.
then
Oh God.
then we found out the disappointment that the Mandarin is actually Trevor Slattery, an actor.
Oh,
Huge controversy with his part, but he was hilarious in that one, man. Where he's
it
like,
was so funny, but I'm so mad that he's that's his character now. Like in the
yeah,
MCU, he could have been something else. He could have been
yeah. If he was still a leader of a Taliban group, that would have been dope because he just had that menacing thing.
yeah,
Um, but Trevor was hilarious in this one, man. He's just
yeah.
like he was drunk clearly, and he didn't really take any threats seriously. He thought this was a gig. He had no idea. He actually shot a guy, the fucking Roxon dude, on live TV, and just a silly dude. And later on, we
Those
get to see a
jokes.
Marvel short later of him being in prison and then getting confronted by a goon that said, "Our leader wants a word with you." And he's like, "Why?" It's like you took his name. This time he wants it back. So Marvel kind of did that as a
That's
sorry.
cool.
I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. This
But
is
like,
just.
how long after the movie came out did they redo that scene?
I think they
Is it
came out with that
months?
short like yeah months.
Oh, word.
That short came out in months, I believe. Let us know, stream or chat, uh, if that's right or not,
Go monsters.
and let us know if you agree with Trevor
Yeah.
Slattery. You know what I mean? That kind of shitty. I mean, what we got, at least it wasn't like complete shit that we got, but it was really disappointing that it was an act, which made Killian a little bit more of a jackass. Um, but Ben Kingsley did an amazing job. Dude, the contrast between his persona as the Mandarin and Trevor Slattery is like insane, dude. That's acting AF. Like that's really good. Like to just sound like a fucking G and then sound like a complete idiot after. It's
I love that.
hilarious. That's an
The
Oscar winner right there,
bass
man.
in his voice. Yeah, he was Gandhi, right?
Yes, he was Gandhi.
Jeez. The range on this man.
It's crazy. This guy has more range than like fucking Ghost Rider's
Hawkeye.
heavy, dude.
Ooh, that's full screen.
Yeah, dude. You can go to a wall bounce after that.
Jeez.
And people are like, "What are
Yeah.
you talking about?" Anyways, um,
Check the name. Respect it.
Tony killing the girl is actually pretty crazy in that
Yeah.
one. A slight twist, but
Tony?
was it Tony? Oh no, the
No,
guy,
it's Killian.
Killian.
Killian. Yeah. That was
Killian.
weird.
Yeah,
Wait, did she survive?
nah, she died. Gunshot wound, man. That was Wesker style. Except,
Jeez.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. That was
she
heavy.
she was in the air for like 4 times. He did that.
Ouch.
He's gonna
Are you
teleport,
seeing
but
this?
are you seeing this? Did you like the girl?
She was cool, but like the motive was weird because I don't know. I guess like I understand the kind of character she portrays, the botanist who like wanted to make really cool work, and then yeah, she had like a crush on Tony this whole time or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
she kept that thing. She's like, "You don't remember?" She's like, "Yo, I." He's like, "I get to wake up to a person who
Ooh,
still has their soul," and you're like, "Whoa,
bars, bars.
he's this guy is a married man now or something."
There's a huge contrast on who he was as a person back then to
Yeah,
now. That was rude as fuck too. I mean, he was being held captured. If I was that woman, I would have shot him
yeah, yeah,
right then and there. But too
yeah,
bad she got shot.
for sure.
She didn't
But then
block.
she was like, if you don't let him go, I'll kill myself.
Yeah,
So that was kind of nice that she redeemed herself in the end.
yeah.
So
Like
that was nice.
it showed us that she wasn't entirely on the Mandarin side, on Killian's side in terms of
Yeah,
like his global saturation type
yeah,
of, because that's what he wanted, right? He wanted to get rid of the world of the weak willed and create a new army of super soldiers.
Yeah.
So, uh, Tony fighting with only one hand and one leg was pretty cool. That was pretty dope. He had to do some makeshift fighting in that one, where he kind of used them as like boosters. You know what I mean? To like the backhand or
Oh yeah, yeah.
the
That was
kicking
like,
or
ooh,
whatever.
that
Um,
standing heavy slap
yeah,
with the
dude.
boosters that looked like it hurt.
Dude, definitely. You bitch slap somebody like that, that shit will hurt like a motherfucker. And we
Yeah,
get to see he used the same technique in Thanos later on. We actually had nano boosters on
yeah.
uh his
On his arm,
limbs, yeah, and his arms.
his like cool like it was huge. Whoa, it's like a hammer
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
fucking thing.
And then on the elbows, right, where they created boosters, and his like
Yeah,
foot turned into a claw. It's fucking crazy, dude.
crazy, crazy.
Like Tony thinks he's like, yo, this is useful. I like this, because Tony knows that he doesn't have actual strength like Thor or Cap, so he had to do his own thing.
Yeah, smart guy.
Then we get to see the famous plane scene. Like, dude,
That was X.
what the? Okay, like, can we talk about the realism in that? Because a lot of
Oh
people are
man,
like, you're gonna break everybody's bones if you try to go with that type of gravitational.
and
Like
like how
the
long did it happen for?
yeah, 14 people. Like, really? Like, I understand
Yeah,
if it was like maybe 7 people, or it's like
yeah,
maybe that's a little
14.
possible, but that.
Yeah, they weren't high up. This is like 30,000 feet.
Yeah, like a passenger plane, 30,000 feet.
30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but Ray is connected to some professionals when it comes into commercial flying. And so, can you
Yep.
confirm that it's 30,000 feet?
30,000 all day, every day.
Okay. Thank you, Ray Boeing.
What is that?
You're like secretly the son of the guy who owns Boeing, like the
That's
plane.
hilarious.
That's your connection. Um,
Oh shit. That happened at my dentist once. I was leaving, and they were like, "Raymond, where are you going?" It's a Filipino dentist, and like near near Tremendous. No, not Tremendous.
of course it is.
Near Bubble Teas.
Okay.
They got, where are you going next? And I'm like, oh, we're going to the Philippines soon. And then the dentist comes out. She's like, oh yeah, in front of everyone in the waiting room. It's like, that's the son of a pilot or like one of the airline.
That's
I'm like,
hilarious. You should have saluted her. Yeah, exactly. Salute. I make them salute. That's what he said.
dead.
Um,
Yeah.
apparently, that
Oh
plane
my
scene
god.
was actually made with real actors. There's a lot of, I guess, paratroopers or what do you call it again? Skydivers that made that scene possible, which is pretty intense if you really think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that was necessary, but that was a really cool
Ooh,
way of showing us that he had the automated suit on deck and stuff like that.
true. That is sick. Yeah, I was misled. But here's
Yeah.
an interesting thing about that scene.
Hmm.
I saw Iron Man 3 in the plane, and remember the explosion part?
Okay, like when the thing busted wide open, yeah.
Yeah. So they skipped all of that, and it just so happened that they cut right into people falling in the sky.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's great. That's a plain version, cut version.
Yeah, that's a cut version for Air Canada because, you don't want to fucking look over someone's seat and then you see like what it looks like outside like
Yeah,
of the plane and you're like, "Oh shit.
yeah, yeah,
Who
yeah.
just jumped?"
It's a live broadcast. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow, I didn't know that
Yeah.
stream. This is the only way that you would know this information in regards to this Easter egg is with this channel and it's with this man because he has interconnections
Yep.
with commercial airlines. I'm
Yep.
not gonna say what or who,
PBC.
but Raymond
Do you like jazz?
Raymond Cathai will not tell you how he's connected to anything.
Raymond Cathay. That sounds so wrong.
I don't even know what Cathai
Oh
is.
shit. I just like blew out the candle.
Oh shit!
That's jokes.
Shoutouts to who made that candle again? Does he or she
IKEA.
have a stage name? Oh, okay. I thought it was like a.
No, this is the IKEA.
thought it was
The
the
candles,
your
right?
friend.
Yeah. But
Oh
yeah.
no, but the holder, the
Oh
hoarder.
yeah. The hoarder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend who made it.
Does he have a screen name? Artist name?
Uh, yeah, yeah. Ibrahim Abusita.
Ooh, shout out to Ibrahim
Yep.
Abusita, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Look at that. Oh.
send me your catalog. I want to see some. I have some candles that I need holding.
Yep.
So,
These
um,
candles need holding.
these candles need to be
Damn.
held.
Damn.
Um,
Damn. That's funny.
so let's go back. Do you have any more before we get into? I guess I have like a few more notes on this.
Um, I think it was cool to see Rhodey fighting Melee
Oh,
because
like yeah.
it's like Jackie Chan style, kind of like at the harbor. And so sick.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was legit like his name is Lee, god damn it, type of
Yo,
interaction. With
I had a note that says General Rhodey fighting blah blah blah. It's fighting Melee with this dude is like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan's child, like combined. You
hmm
know, he's got like the refined sass, but then he's got the moves.
hmm He's like army trained, but at the same time he has his
Yeah,
own flair to it. Even when he
yeah,
jumped
yeah,
out of the suit, he came out fist flying, dude.
yeah.
He came out with a Superman punch. Yeah, he's like,
Jeez,
I'm ready. Yeah,
this guy Rhodey.
Rhodey.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Um, this movie is worth seeing for the mini suits scene alone.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. The final fight that was beautiful as
yeah,
fuck.
so good,
Um,
nicely choreographed.
and like this is what the Iron Man series has been all about. It's about suits.
Yeah,
And we got to see the big ass suit Ironmonger. Then we got to see Whiplash suit and his automated army, and now we get to see Tony's on what he's able to do, in terms of like giving us a crazy array of suits with different purposes and different gimmicks and knickknacks and whatnot. It was really cool to see, and it sucks that we never really got to uh, get a actual description in each one, or there's a lot of videos out there and a lot of posts and forums that talk about each of the suits. Yes, I understand. Wow, dude, you're really talented at being a nerd, but just enjoy it, man. It looks cool. The suit with the blades coming out of the hand,
yeah, that was sick.
the suit that uh,
The
breaks
mini
down
Hulk Buster.
into, yeah, I think they call that the Igor, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
he had like a little stabilizing beam
Yeah,
behind him. I was really fucking sick.
it's cool.
The jackhammer handed
Yeah,
thing was
what does
really
that
cool.
even do?
Yeah, what construction? Are you are you
Yeah, I think so,
constructing something?
probably. To
Maybe.
to dig instead of blasting it away with the repulsor, it just digs with a dig bot.
Yeah. The main suit that he kind of fights in this one with is the one with the blade coming out. It's apparently called the Heartbreaker suit
Oh yeah,
because it has a bigger looking arc reactor than normal.
cool, cool.
Which is also the suit that flies Rhodey towards the president because he's like, "Where's mine?" And he's like, "Sorry, man, I only got this programmed to me," which broke Rhodey's heart. And it's
Yeah,
fitting that the Heartbreaker gave him a ride. Too
nice.
deep? Is that too deep, stream?
His heart did not break. Are you serious?
But that scene with the president was kind of lame.
Yeah,
Because I'm like, okay, Rhodey got him because he used the boosters on the fucking hand to like burn the rope, right? How
yeah.
dumb is this president, bro? Can't you like figure shit out to like you're in a high
No,
powered suit. I thought
it's
it was
supposed to be
like
very intuitive.
yeah, AI wise, can't you just be like, yo, get me
Yeah,
out of here?
yeah. Yo, I'm the president. You should just say, I'm the president.
Yeah, like if Rhodey could figure it out by just like
Yeah.
pointing the fucking palms, like I don't know. President was an idiot.
Okay, wait, hold on. But like Rhodey is a fighter pilot. He's a general. Okay. So
I
I don't blame the president because he's probably like Trump is like a reality TV show host
yeah, he's not
and he
really the
became the
most.
president.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you're right. These guys aren't really the most trained in that situation. I'm sure that if there were laws and policies in front of his table, he would do a better job.
for sure.
But I just felt
I
like
could do
that
this.
that scene could have been a little bit more different, but cool nonetheless because Rhodey gets his suit back. He
Yeah,
escorts the president out of there, and it was a little tacky,
yeah,
but we got to see a little bit more Rhodey's, him helping out,
yeah, yeah,
which we'll
yeah.
get to
It's
see
cool.
later on. Anything else there?
Oh. Um. Oh, let's see. The Mark 42 when he faked him out. That was super Tony. That was jokes. When
Oh,
it landed and then it like broke apart, and then he put it on. He put it on Aldridge. That was sick.
yeah, that was hilarious because like that was foreshadowing from the beginning of how that same Mark 42 also broke apart, pretty
Yeah,
much putting on the last piece for Tony, and it broke Killian apart
yeah,
as he thought by making him explode. So
yeah.
that was pretty crazy. Ugh, as well, why is my throat so
Ooh,
itchy, guys?
ay nako.
I was making out with a grocery worker a while ago.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Food basic?
yeah, they had a sale on bats. Jokes. All right,
Nice.
so uh, the final fight, Tony. So it really is Tony and Rhodey both not having suits, and so I think let me know if I'm diving deep into this. Throughout the whole movie, we never really get to see Tony. Tony is being a hero without a suit,
Yeah.
and so
Ooh,
if you
good
watch
take.
if you watch Homecoming, there's a line that it says, "If you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it." And this is where Tony learned that lesson, and he passes it down to Parker.
Amazing.
Because Tony saved people, he was still being a hero even without the suit. And so, finding himself was a big part in that. In terms of, is that too deep? Like, is that?
That's
Well, that's
very yo. This guy's in love with Tony Stark. Look at him. He's got a reactor right there.
yeah, yeah. For real, this is actually made from one of the shrapnels that was cut off from
Oh
his
man.
body. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. That's an amazing take. I mean, it is
Yeah.
true. The character development for Tony Stark over these movies has been huge.
Mhm.
It's always like a really huge leap every movie. So that's cool. First it was like, oh, I gotta stop making weapons for war. It's like, whoa, now I gotta like start making weapons for war.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. It's kind of
Those
like a tug of
jokes.
war battle between like what
Yeah,
is your main purpose in life and how can you
yeah,
really help society, and it's about protecting the world.
yeah.
So yeah, that
Gotta
was,
protect the McNuggets.
and so this is this is where we see the final ending where he throws the arc reactor
Yeah,
into the ocean, the
yeah,
triangle one that he had, and a lot of fans are this was a controversial
yeah.
ending
It was weird.
because it doesn't really follow. Because the
Yeah,
next time we see Iron Man is in Ultron, and he's still Iron Man. He's still kicking ass,
yeah.
and so this is why this movie was weak. But again, after much kush and thinking,
The spirits have got him.
Chief, the spirits have got me. The spirits have got me. Splash water on my face. Splash. Calm down.
Blackface.
Blackface. Stream, let us know if you know that reference. Um, so, people have been questioning about this ending since it doesn't make sense to still be Iron Man later on when he tells us in where he throws it out that he's done with it. Or maybe he's starting over or whatever. But the secret ending is him talking to Bruce Banner. So, what
Yeah.
I'm thinking is that this is the fantasy that he had in his mind. That to him, this is ultimately what he wants to happen. He wants to stop being Iron Man. He wants to relax and have a family, but he knows he can't
Oh,
because he knows there's still
interesting.
a threat.
Yeah.
And so this, he's telling Banner in his therapy session that like, yeah, in a
Mhm.
perfect world, I would leave all that, and I would, which he ends up doing in Endgame.
Yeah.
He does end up living a quote unquote normal life uh,
For a bit.
for a bit, but he also knows he's not done. And the main
Yeah.
lesson that he learns in this movie is that he made his own demons, and he made Killian and he made the girl, and he made sure not to do that anymore. And so that's when he started mentoring, and to
Hmm.
not leave potential followers and behind, like on the roof,
Yeah.
like on a one night stand. So
Hmm.
that's why he started doing that with Spider-Man. Is that too
Wow.
deep?
That is well, it makes sense. Dream, let us know if it makes sense to you, because
Yeah, let us
after
know.
hearing that, it
Yeah,
kind of makes sense.
let us know.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think about the Iron Lad theory?
oh, you're talking about the kid becoming Iron
Yeah.
Lad in
Yeah,
the
because that's
future?
a Kang the Conqueror thing, right?
Yeah, in a
And
sense, because he does a lot of time traveling stuff, and so
yeah,
um, it
and
could
I
it
think
could be a possibility.
they're trying to set Kang the Conqueror up after Galactus or something like that.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
apparently right now they're trying to look for the next big bad guy,
Yeah.
to sort of like the next Thanos for the next saga. And there's a lot to choose from, and a lot of people, it's either, yeah, Kang the Conqueror or Galactus.
Yeah.
Either one of those two. Now, Galactus' last execution was,
So
whew,
ass.
that thing was, dude, that thing was like fire out of the ground from uh, Ghost Rider. That's a raw ass. That's
Yeah.
that's ass.
Well,
It's durable as fuck, but it's ass.
it's
He was like
very
a
ass.
cloud or something. Ah man, I just remember it's really bad. But then again, what would you do? The CGI they had back then, would you really want them to make a fucking Galactus? Because that would look
It would,
super ass.
yeah, but we have fucking Power Ranger movies that make things look good.
Yeah, yeah, you're right though.
You
You're right.
know?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they
And
didn't
that's in
want
the
to.
'90s.
They didn't want to risk it, so that was kind of
Yeah.
shitty on their end.
Come on.
But to
That
see it,
would,
what do you think? Do you want to see who's the next big bad guy you want to see?
I want to see someone like I've never seen before.
So maybe like, because Kang hasn't really been anywhere, and
Yeah.
so he might be the next big
Yeah, I
thing.
wanna.
Uh,
I heard that it makes sense because like it deals with like time travel and like timelines.
universes, right? Yeah,
Yeah, so that
Kang
would
is
be
sort
cool.
of notorious for that, for trying to invade certain timelines
Yeah,
and certain things. And so that would be really cool to see. You're right.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Before we end off this Iron Man 3, let me just go through the rest of the. These are like sort of my throwaway notes where it's like, it's cool, but it doesn't really have any sentimental value. Doctor Wu is the Chinese doctor we meet in the beginning. He's the one who ends up doing the surgery to remove Tony's arc reactor at the end.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like, oh, cool, but like, does it really matter? Maya takes Killian from, takes the card from Killian. We talked about
Yeah,
that. Happy is John Travolta. Notice that Tony and his sunglasses a lot more in this one. He takes them off to talk to the people he respects, like Maya.
yeah, uh
Uh,
huh,
uh, but he also takes them off to show aggression, like when he
yeah,
threatened the Mandarin and when he fought in Infinity War before
yeah,
fighting those two. So that's really cool. And of course, the sunglasses that he leaves Peter Parker later on. So
yeah.
you see a little bit
Edith,
more. Edith, yeah. Even in death, I am the
I'm the
hero.
hero.
Ridiculous, dude. He's still. Okay, so this one is a little bit deep, maybe. When Tony puts on the suit for the first time, Mark 42, he had to do the face upside down, which put a little cut on his lip. And Ivan Vanko in the previous movie said, "If you make God bleed, people will cease to believe in him." So Tony doing that to himself, and this whole movie is about him not believing in himself anymore.
Mm,
So, uh,
that's
Ray's like, I want to know who's your dealer.
the spirits
Um,
have got him.
Jarvis has his own stocking, Christmas stocking, in their fireplace,
Why?
and it's colored red, green, and yellow. And the yellow
Ooh,
part, I think it's because kind of telling us, hinting us a little bit that he becomes Vision because
yeah,
that's Vision's color from the comics. Pretty
that's
cool.
true.
Um, while fooling Tony with, while fooling Pepper with the empty suit, he tells Pepper that he has a team of guys coming tomorrow to blow that wall out, which ends up happening, but it was the Mandarin's
Interesting.
team. Yeah, remember that? Tracy? Like, you gotta stop working all the time. I'm not working. I'm just doing some little renovation. I got a team tomorrow. Gonna blow that hole
Was
in
it
the
the
wall.
next day though?
Yeah, it was the next day
Oh,
because
dialogue.
that night was when Happy got attacked and then he threatened them and stuff like that. Pepper finds Tony's phone message in his helmet, which is what he uses in the endgame to record a message for her.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Later on, later on. Stark says a joke
Uh-huh.
to the kid about a Christmas story. He said, "Loved you in Christmas Story,"
That
which,
was good.
which was hilarious. I did a little bit more research, and apparently that actor was the same guy who played uh, the scientist that Obadiah Stane yelled at. Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box
Wait,
of
say
scraps.
again.
That was the kid from the Christmas Story. Was that
What do
actor
you mean?
who played the scientist? Yeah, he's all grown up, and he also makes an appearance in Far From Home later on.
No
Hilarious,
way.
hilarious, isn't it? Yeah, dude.
That's my mind is blown. What the fuck,
Yeah.
stream? That is deep.
And this movie's also a Christmas themed movie, so fits along with the
And
theme.
it came out around Christmas.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so.
because actually one of the things that are guiding almost like guiding the storylines is that like this movie had snow in it,
Mm,
and the release is around Christmas, so it's like to encourage sales
hmm
for So that's
Toys as well. Yeah,
probably also what bummed me out about the movie is like,
kind of a marketing ploy
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Even when he's putting on the suit for the first time, Jarvis plays Jingle Bell Rock.
Christmas songs, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Um, when when
Oh,
Tony was strapped to the bed frame, he was holding out his hand, waiting for the suit. Kind of reflects on how Thor kind of waits for his hammer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Unnecessary
Okay,
Easter egg, Gerald.
okay.
um, Stan Lee makes a cameo as a pageant judge. Kind of silly, low key creepy.
A little bit.
But rest in peace to Stan the Man.
Yeah, that's our guy.
And so this is phase two, and I read up a little bit on the hands being cut off. So this is Aldrich Killian gets his hand cut off by the blade,
In the
and
comics,
no, like in the
in the
series
movie.
MCU phase two, this is where a lot of hands get chopped off.
Oh,
Bucky,
interesting. Yeah,
Nebula later on,
yeah.
Groot. This is an ode to Star Wars in the second
Empire.
movie. Yep, when Luke gets his hand cut off. So, guys, as we go through these MCU rewatches, we're gonna see
Wow,
all these hands being cut off,
that's
and I want you
crazy.
guys to go with us as we find each one. Pretty cool.
What an amazing, like, wow,
Yeah, pretty
wow.
crazy.
The Kush
Yeah.
has me also. I'm actually like on Uber Eats page right now.
Oh, dude, trust me, that's going up later. Okay, you have no idea.
I'm
Um,
dying.
in the beginning, Killian was this acne-ridden, long-haired, creepy dude. And then when Pepper sees him, he's not limping anymore. That's the first sign that we see that he himself has extremis. Because obviously it fixes your stature,
Yeah.
which is why that Secretary of the State Vice President was a jackass because his fucking daughter didn't have legs. Whatever. Um,
Boo.
uh, Killian also mentions Thor in one of his conversations. He says, ever since that big guy with a hammer came down,
Nice.
subtlety is really not our best suit, or whatever. And he also explained Trevor Slatter. He said he's an actor that played a good Lear in The Toast of Croydon. So I researched that up a little bit more. Um,
Why?
because I didn't understand it. And apparently, the Toast of Croydon is a famous but not so famous theater, um, I think in Italy or France. But it
Uh-huh.
means that he's not a bad actor, but he also hasn't achieved anything extraordinary. So, which kind of goes into why he took this role because he was probably waiting for a breakout. And he
It's true.
played pretty good. He played really well.
Very.
Right.
He convinced everyone, even the president.
Yeah.
So
This is one of the reasons why I watch with subtitles, because then I'm like, oh, what is that? And then I just like fucking Google it. But it's useless. Um, love the guard just saying randomly. Um, he's like, how far is it from here to Tennessee? And he's like, 1,043 miles. It's like, wow. It's like, yeah, I'm good like that. Remember that? I was like, that's such a stupid line.
who says that?
Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm good
Like,
like that.
yeah, it's like, wow, that was really fast. It's like, yeah, I'm good like that. And of course, the guard that says, dude, I don't even like working here. These guys are weird. That Marvel humor that we love
Yeah,
so much.
it got funnier, like and funnier over the years.
Yeah, just like
Yeah,
more ridiculous. Especially like Winter Soldier
yeah,
has some good ones.
yeah.
Um, and the last point I have is Killian's Mandarin isn't really exactly too far from what was in the comics, because the Mandarin in the comics was able to rip Tony's suit apart. So I guess in this one he was also able to do that. So I guess he, aside from all the other powers that Mandarin had, that was one of the things that he was known for, was that he could rip it with his bare hands. So
Why? What was his like? What did he eat?
it was the 10 rings,
Like,
right? So each ring
oh
had
right,
cosmic power that he
right.
stole from different galaxies and universes. So that's what made it. That's all I have, guys. Let me know if we dove too deep in some of the analysis that we did, or if we didn't dive deep enough. And some of the things that you might have noticed the first time and the second time that we missed on this one, let us know. Because honestly, this one wasn't so bad after everything. Like, you know, yes, it's not one of the movies that I would particularly rewatch anytime soon after this. It's not
This
like
is
a
the
Winter
last
Soldier.
time.
But yeah, this is probably the last. This is the second and last time that I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep these notes because really, unless you have a kid who hasn't seen Iron Man yet or any of the MCU movies, there really isn't any reason to rewatch this one specifically.
yeah,
You're better off watching the other ones that Tony's been in, like Civil War or
yeah,
even Iron Man 1. And
yeah. Just rewatch that one.
uh, let me see where we put this on our list back then.
Probably a
Uh,
C, low C.
this was in. This was actually the lowest B, for me
Ooh,
at
okay.
least. So
Okay.
I know that yours messed up later on, so you have to rewatch that list a little bit
Yeah,
and do a screenshot. But
yeah, yeah.
I would probably keep it the same, a low B. Um, Character
I
growth is
would.
huge,
Yeah.
and it's a huge setup, but it's kind of like, I wouldn't say useless lore, but unnecessary lore for.
It was just long too, right?
Yeah, so this was
Two
like
hours.
peaking. Yeah, this was 2 hours with a huge lull in the middle of
Yeah,
Tennessee, and so
yeah,
we didn't get to see the suits that much. Uh,
yeah. Toilet break was
yeah,
that count. The toilet
there was
break.
a toilet break. But out of 10, what is your new rating? Did you bump this up or did you not bump this up?
Honestly, I'd still give it a 4. I think I gave it a 4
Was it a 4 out of 10 for that, for the previous one? And it's still
for the Iron
uh
Man 3. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Iron Man 3. Oh, wow, this guy's savage, dude. Originally I gave this a 6 out of 10, but now I gave
Oh,
it a 7 out of 10.
5. Oh, okay.
Just because the power of the Kush made me see a lot more things before,
Yes,
and
I see. He sees past all things.
yeah, and he says a line in the movie says everybody needs a hobby, which is so crucial, man. Because like, bro, guys, if you're suffering from mental health, if you're suffering from anxiety, a hobby really helps with all that shit. Does not only does it keep you distracted, but it also consoles you and it makes you feel comfortable. Because I've been building Gunpla for pretty much all my life. This is how I dealt with bullies. This is how I dealt with heartbreak. This is how I dealt with loneliness. As people come and go,
Oh,
and so does love. But
ooh.
Gunpla's forever.
Yeah,
You think
The
my
army just keeps
yeah.
getting bigger.
Yeah, you think my MS06S Zaku 2 Charge Custom is gonna leave me? Are you crazy, bro? Or the MS06R1A Shin Matsunaga Custom gonna walk out on me? Hell no,
No, they're
huh?
stationary.
Yeah. You think Rick Diaz
He's looking
gonna
at them as well. He's
yeah,
looking.
I am is gonna cheat on me with a much younger
Yeah.
guy? No.
Um,
Yeah. He's not like Ella at all. Shoutouts to you, bitch.
wow.
Uh
You roast them.
your actual
Ah.
names? Jokes. Katia,
Last names
Alicia.
of
I
the
know
full
that you gon' hear
government.
me. I'm the man. Yeah, I said it. Bitch, I'm the man. Don't you
Don't you
forget it.
forget it.
The way you walk.
I'm
Alright,
dying.
that's enough. Take care, guys. I just hope
Ooh.
that, heaven accept you and
Angels
angels
protect you.
protect you. I don't even know what to say. But let us know, guys, what you think about Iron Man 3. Is it better now that the saga is done? Did it change your mind? Did it change you as a person? Let us know. And with
Please.
that, we're going to move on to the next movie, man.
Nice.
The
Yo.
man with no plan.
No plans.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Mr. Odin's son himself, Thor the Dark World. Ugh.
Yes.
So I'm going to
It's
ask you the
called.
same question, Ray. Were you excited and did it change your mind?
Oh my god, I was not excited. But I actually will probably bump this up a
Mm.
little bit from my. Because, my first note is it's like cosmic Lord of the Rings intro with Anthony Hopkins again with the monologue.
Yep.
The Dark Abs. Yo,
Ooh.
this is like so cheesy
Yep.
because I don't know, like the universe building in in Asgard in like the cosmic, the nine realm kind of like Thor's world
Hmm.
is supposed to be cheesy because it's Thor,
Hmm.
but the CGI like makes it kind of like Naboo, Lord of the Rings kind of though that CG it's really bright and like it's really dark when it is. So, but at least the CG is starting to look better.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, the opening
Asgard
scene.
looks amazing.
Yeah, in this one, the CG got a lot better. And the beginning, yep, with Odin narrating the battle reflects the same
Yeah,
way that Thor 1 started. The battle against the Frost Giants, this time Dark Elves. It kind of
yeah,
shows you that Asgard is really about war. It's about
yeah.
battles. It's about
Always.
asserting
Yeah,
dominance in the Nine Realms,
yeah.
and and that the Dark Elves are the only ones that can match them in terms of firepower.
True.
And they should be glad that they were asleep this entire time, or else they wouldn't be in the position they're in.
Yeah,
And it was his dad. It was Odin's dad.
more.
Yeah. So it's now we know that his full name is Odin Borson. I guess, right?
Odin Borson. Oh no.
It's kind of a
Oh
weird ass
no.
name, a little bit, right? Um,
That sucks.
but it explained the ether,
Yeah.
which is
Which
the
is sludge.
sludge. Which stone is that one? The
It's
reality
a
stone.
reality stone.
Reality
Yeah.
stone. And he was snatched away from the dark elves by Bor and hidden somewhere on
Yeah.
the Nine Realms, which later we get to see where. And he
Yeah.
used the Bifrost to do that. He's kind of
Yeah.
like stole it from him. It's like evidence. Maya was there holding back, and
Protect you.
yeah. But the Dark
Maya
Elves
protect you.
was actually a formidable foe. Formidable foe. They were strong. They had the Berserker. What is that? The Berserker
That's crazy.
power
The
up
X
thing.
the sensu bean, like
Yo, this guy said
this guy
Setsu
this
bean.
guy gets powered up and like how does he fight Thor with that shit?
Yeah, that was a little crazy. I mean, I guess they have their own lore, dark elf lore with it, but
Yeah.
that power up was a little crazy because he was immune to Asgardian magic, right? And or whatever.
Yeah.
Just remember that he's like, their magic won't affect you if you sacrifice your life, and he's like, I'm about it. And kind of
Kamikaze.
he was like the abomination dude, where he was just like
Yeah.
thirst for battle and whatever power he can get, he'll take it, type
Yeah.
of thing. So that
Oh
was
shit! I
pretty good.
actually watched this without the subtitles, and I thought of like when they were speaking Elvish.
Hmm.
I was like, it's like, what the fuck is this language? Like, whoever thought of the language was not. It wasn't well thought of. Like, you know how
Like
when
Lord
you
of the Rings
hear,
had better ones. Yeah, their
yeah,
Elvish was a lot better.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
more structured and it's like an actual language where you can learn.
yeah,
So that part of it is like deep, but like this language was just like, nah, like you know,
yeah. This was like kind of like a, I think it was an improv team that made this language a little bit kind of a throwaway language. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I
Shoobity
don't.
bap 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 kaboo bap.
Stream I actually do that for fun sometimes. Some friends go into an elevator, actually speak a fake language, and see if people react. And the fact that people don't react is hilarious
Yeah,
because they have no idea it's not a real language. And
that's jokes.
if you guys need some tips on making great languages, repeat stuff and sound irritated.
Ah,
Yeah, so you
kulu
could be
kulu
like,
kulu kulu.
yeah, be like 不被来来. People are like just mind their own business, and it's usually Choco or something that would bounce
That's
back. Be like, "Be
hilarious.
mama, dude, doesn't it
Yo,
sound
that's
like?
ambiguous as fuck. Wow.
Yeah, and you point
Nice.
stuff to your hand like, "Be like shun moy." People are like, "What? Yeah, it's just a
This
normal
is
day at an elevator."
Stream. This is one of the reasons why there's xenophobia in white people. They don't want this shit, whatever that
Yeah,
shit was,
they think I'm planning an attack or something, but I'm not. Just fucking
in
around.
plain sight.
In fact, I'm being mad racist by
For sure.
making up a fake language. You
You can't
can't
be
be
racist to a fake race.
preach. That's why I
Yep.
do it, guys.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Ooh.
the beginning
Let's
is
go.
Loki getting scolded and sent to prison,
Yeah.
and he kind of has a bad boy attitude in this one, which kind of pissed Odin off further.
Yeah.
Um, Notice that he calls him prisoner and not my
Wow.
son. He
Yeah,
was
dude. What happened here?
he was really cheesed at
Complete
that.
180.
He was not only did it bring embarrassment to Asgard as a realm,
Yeah.
but as a disappointment to his son, where it's kind of like, come on, man, like, and Loki was still adamant on wanting a throne, and he saw no crime of what he does,
Yeah.
and it's true because Odin spilled more blood than him. You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
Kind of like you're a hypocrite, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, how do you think we got this money? Like,
oof, yeah. Like you think this is not blood money?
yeah, it's all
Bitch.
blood money.
Which we get to see later on in Ragnarok of the
Yeah.
true atrocities of what Odin really has done and tried to cover it
Yeah.
up with Hela and stuff like that. Um, then we follow Thor. We finally get to see Thor the man, and he goes and helps Lady Sif and his dudes at a battle in some other realm. Um, and we get to see
Standing
Korg.
S. Korg takes a standing S to the face.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I don't know if you guys know, but Thor's standing S is do not fuck around with. That hitbox is huge.
Yeah,
That
it can
thing
cross
is
up.
durable as fuck, and it can cross up, dude.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mean uppercut to the face.
He goes, huh?
That was an ode to Indiana Jones when he faced off against the dude with the whip,
Yeah.
because it was like sort of a build up, and he just kind of one shot him.
Which one was that one? The second one?
Uh, yeah, so I think it was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, the first one.
I think, yeah. Um, so is that the same Asian actor? Is that the same Asian guy from Warriors 5? Because I was like,
Well, it's not the same white guy for sure, but I think it might be the same Asian guy.
oh, okay.
Because they're the shorter hair white guy that
Yeah.
is a different character. And that's why he got the first line.
Oh, wow. Because he's white.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wasn't kind of sure, but I guess we saw that was his hometown village. Um,
Who, Korg? Yeah.
no, I mean like the
Oh.
Asian guy. Remember? Because Thor's like, I think you should stay here and be with your
Oh,
family
right.
for a bit.
Oh.
It's a little fucked
So
up.
they were in Wuhan?
Wow. I think it was Wuhan Guard. Hungard.
Wuhan guard.
Yeah,
Jeez, they had a bunch of Geodudes and Zubats in that
wow.
cave.
Yeah, delicacies.
Yep,
Um, no ratio.
Geodude.
Those bandits, we also got to see a little bit of Chitauri in that one, which was
Oh,
pretty
word,
cool.
word, word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little callback. And so I guess this is what Asgard does, protecting the nine realms from,
yeah,
I guess, bandits or
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
what is that called? Just threats in
Like,
general.
like pirates or like just they're anyone who's disturbing the peace.
Yeah, um,
Yeah. So they're cops.
a little bit. I guess they're
Yeah,
like the Nova Corps of that realm or that galaxy.
yeah.
Yggdrasil, right? World Tree, keeping order.
Word. Yeah.
Um,
Yggdrasil.
really interesting to for Odin to give Thor some advice, not as an all father, but as a father, showing that there's a distinct way he must give orders
Yeah.
as a leader, right? Whether uh, it's for coming as an all father or just as a father, because that's when we heard him call Loki as a prisoner instead of the son. He was acting like an all father in that one. Um, it's just also a learning lesson from Thor, where you kind of have space between what's good for your people and what's good for your family, which we get to see a little bit later on. Uh, Odin kind of crosses that line in terms of emotional um, leadership. Uh, don't want to spoil anything, but yeah,
Nice, 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 nice.
yeah, I'm gonna end it off with
Bafada, 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 bafada.
and
Yeah.
yeah, there's kind of like a little switch up because this time it was kind of Thor still believing in Loki a little bit, and the father being
Yeah.
super harsh and him this time. And Lady Sif trying to put on some game on Thor, but
Yeah, no, what is that?
uh,
Like, she's like, "Come on, Thor. We've known each other since we were kids." And you're like,
ooh, I know
"Bleh."
that talk. Yep, I've heard that talk before.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'll show you mine if you know. If you get that on me, I'll get that on you.
yeah.
Some
And I
B44
can
stuff.
internet it if you want me
Me
to.
too.
Ooh,
Um, what do you think about that? Do you think Lady Sif would
that's
have been a
so
better?
ass.
Because in the comics they do end up dating.
True.
Uh, you know, the
Well,
earlier comics at least,
uh,
not the current ones.
I do like Jane Foster,
Yep,
so
I
it's a
agree.
little bit biased. And Lady Sif, like, to be honest, since the last movie, I've been saying you need to get rid of these like characters. They're so ass.
Well, they
They're
didn't really
not
get
good on screen.
you didn't really get much spotlight on this one either. So I think they kind of
Yeah,
knew. Uh,
yeah. They're
you know,
phasing them out.
yeah. In the second movie, they're like, yeah, I mean, they're there, but oh no no.
Yeah, and I actually have a note in that. It's like that's probably how Asgardians actually like fucking ask for another drink, and that's
Yeah.
why Thor did it in the thing. Because I
Oh yeah
think
yeah
we
yeah yeah.
we had asked ourselves in the last one when we were talking about Thor. It's like, is that really how they do it in Asgard? And you know what? Looks like it. Like,
Yeah, they probably had more stable
yeah.
steel cups.
Well, no,
Um,
they had like the barrel, like of
oh, like
it's
a
like made out of wood, right?
keg sort of type of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they put their ale.
Yes.
Oh,
Asgardian ale,
yeah,
Odin's beer.
yeah. Odin's beer.
By
Um,
Odin's beer, mighty tornado.
um, we also get to see Dr. Eric Selvig went a little
Yeah,
bit too cuckoo.
yeah, yeah. He
Mainly
went
it's because he
space
learned too
stone.
much. Yeah, he learned too much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
the Loki showing him everything can make a guy go crazy,
yeah,
and even he himself was doubting himself a little bit. But later on we find out that no, that paranoia is absolutely correct. All the
yeah,
things that Loki showed you is real, and much like Tony Stark, there's no one else he can talk to about this because you know
yeah,
the other guy that got shown everything is with a bow and arrow, and the Mind Stone. It really depends on who it hits and what the inner desires are, right? For a
yeah.
Hawkeye, it was targets. That's what his inner desires are. For
True.
Selvig, it was knowledge. So he got a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Um,
What did Loki ask for?
a throne. So that's what on his mind was Earth being his world,
Right.
and so he was kind of blinded by that. Pretty crazy.
Nice.
Um,
Mind Stone.
yeah, but
Status Infinite. Shitty game.
ooh, which was the better stone in that one? The Power Stone, right? That's what people kind of abused a lot in that game.
Um,
Was it a
I think no
reality?
Reality Stone. The one with tracks. It's like hidden missile,
The red
and you
one.
can control it. It's stupid.
Ooh.
It's like Ike's or the character you play.
Oh,
The PK Tanda.
Ness or
Yes. Yeah.
Lucas. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Like with the shock, the
yeah. The
shocking ball.
sperm. They call it the sperm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
PK Tanda. Yeah.
Which guys, I really hope that they don't stop the announcements for Evo this year, even though Joey's a jackass. Um,
Fucking fuck that pervert.
yep, he's the
Uh huh.
Epstein. He's the Epstein of FGC right
Yeah,
now.
that's kind of disgusting. Like literally the president of the CEO
Yeah.
of the
Yep.
tournament.
That's Senator Stern, man.
Yo, you know what happens? Remember how like CEO was like pushing their weekends closer and closer to Evo?
Yeah, that's true.
Because it used to be like a month apart or
Yeah.
like 2 months apart.
But literally, this is
So
just 1 week apart now.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
like they upgraded to like Florida to this one convention, all expenses paid. Remember that trailer?
Yeah. It was like
Yo.
the Fire Festival. It was like like for FGC. Like
Yeah,
CEO
yeah.
is
Look,
like, whoa, where'd you get this money, CEO?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So I think they might take over in the place of Evo at some point because it's like,
ooh.
they play better games.
They're more
Because
open to yeah, because even the last one they had Marvel, they had Street Fighter
yeah,
4. They kind of listened to the community a lot more in
yeah, yeah,
terms of
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Evo kind
Instead
of
of
went
like
with a
new
cash grab.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Evo was Evo later on was too dependent on sponsors to a
Yeah,
point
so
where
awful.
they were kind of whipped by
Yeah,
corporations instead of sticking true of what it was before, which was
it's all
so
about the games.
yeah, yeah,
The games, man.
yeah. So hopefully this doesn't discourage Capcom from releasing more stuff or the other studios that have been affected by this horrible man. Anyways, let's
Yeah,
get back to the analysis because
Thor
don't
2.
want to dive in too much of that one.
Yeah, 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 for sure. For sure.
Jane Foster finds a place where the Yellowstone was hidden. So it was some abandoned warehouse. And so we understand that this only happens every 5,000 years in terms of activating. So I guess that's what activated the Reality Stone a little bit was the convergence. We see
That's
the
crazy.
worlds are aligned or
Yeah.
whatever. It can change the course of. Honestly, can you put some more insight on this because magic is a little bit hard to comprehend cosmic
Oh, it's so
shit,
weird.
right? So
Magic and science in our world is one and the same.
yeah,
I don't know,
it
like
was kind of
the
hard for
whole
me to
like,
follow in this one, for
dude,
sure.
this is why I call this lore to the dark world. It's so much lore. Like they tried to expand this universe within Thor, and that's why the fucking director didn't get hired back.
Yeah, who did this one? Alan Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did
I don't
pretty
know.
shitty in this one. The narration was a little bit too convoluted and
Yeah.
vague. They kind of explained things, but not really explained things properly. It just wasn't, and I'm glad that they changed routes in Ragnarok because that was, a way
Yeah.
better plot line and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Um,
I agree.
yeah, that was one of my notes right there. I'm not sure I follow. Like, which wakes the dark elves up? Like, well, what's going on
Yeah.
here? Like, why are they
Yeah.
only waking up now?
Like,
Uh,
why is it such? Why is the Infinity Saga almost dependent on this one detail that the Reality Stone was able to be like extracted
Five
so that
thousand
it's
years
out in the
later.
world, like X, right?
Yeah, yeah. Is
Yeah.
this also another reason why it only had 1.1 out of
Yeah.
14 million realities that they succeeded is because it
Yeah.
takes 5,000 years for this to converge.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Let us know what you guys think,
Yeah.
and if there's any
It's too
Thor
much.
experts out there,
Yeah.
drop some knowledge on us so we can block your ass because we don't give a fuck.
We'll go back to Asgard, nerd.
Yeah, or as the Grandmaster said, "Where's you from? Asberg, something, Asgard,
As
right? Asgard."
Asberg.
As he's DJing.
That's too much.
Oh, gold
Let's
blue, man.
go.
Oh, what are those? Are those sparkles? Are you the god of sparkles? Thunder, I'm god of
Yeah.
thunder. Ooh.
Oh shit! You actually, this is the first time we've seen the sparkle, because when Frigga got stabbed,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
see that Thor got super mad, and then he shot one off.
yeah,
Bleh.
yeah, yeah,
Right into the light. He's like, ah.
yeah. Into Malekith's face,
Yeah.
kind of Harvey dented him a little bit. Yeah,
Woo.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Does he heal that when he gets the reality stone? I can't remember.
No, I don't think he did.
It's a
I
reality
think he
stone. You
likes
can
it.
just do it.
I
Oh,
think he
okay.
likes
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
It makes me look kind of badass.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice. Nice.
yeah.
True.
So now this movie is flipped with Jane being the one in Asgard now instead of Thor being the one on Earth. Uh, I think the scene where she's being analyzed uh,
That
by
was sick.
the doctors was the healing room. So we've heard this room being
Yeah.
mentioned twice.
Yeah.
Once when Loki came back and once when Thor came and Jane came back. Get into the healing room. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
We actually see the healing room, and it's
Yeah.
a bunch of nurses
Yeah, and
or
they're
scientists.
like doing the Tony Stark thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in a more organic way, I guess.
Yeah. It's
Magic
cool.
and science, man. That was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Because Asgard is, kind of it's two
Far-fetched.
spectrums, right? Yeah, where it's like
Yeah.
really traditional ways of just, the light is fire,
Yeah.
right? And then now they have this technology shit. So it's kind of like
Yeah. It's weird.
it's weird a little bit.
It's like they can't really do astral magic shit, but they kind of enchant themselves as, like, I don't know, with magical properties like strength and longevity.
Yeah, they definitely have raw power in terms of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
strength wise as a
yeah,
race.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we like sent, I don't know, like The Rock to fight a normal everyday Asgardian, even a child, I think they would like kick The Rock's ass.
Yeah, I agree because
Yeah,
like yeah, you see Thor handling Hulk. There's nobody in a human being can do that. They can't
yeah,
hold
yeah,
off a punch, and as
yeah,
Guardians can. Yeah, it's kind of
yeah,
like the Amazoness of MCU from thing, or the other way around. Yeah.
yeah.
Jane Foster exploded if somebody
Yeah,
else
yeah,
touches her,
yeah.
which is kind of like a
It's
defense
X.
mechanism from the ether, I guess. And so I guess it depends on the user of the reality stone, which is why she doesn't really destruct anything. It was more of like just confusion, and she
Yeah,
flips realities here and there, but it's not really destructive because I guess that's not her nature, which is
yeah,
different
yeah,
to how it reacts with Malekith later on, where he
yeah.
uses it to like fucking fuck shit up, right? And so Odin explains to us the stones. So
That was
this is,
cool.
yeah,
That was
this
very cool.
this was like the first
Yeah,
time in the phases when we're like, oh shit, like we're
they're
talking
doing
about
it.
stones now.
He said stones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like the Tesseract didn't really, we didn't even know the staff had a Mind Stone in there.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? To us, it was just another weapon or
yeah.
whatever, right?
We don't
So
even know the Tesseract is the Space Stone. We don't know that yet.
right, exactly. So like
Yeah.
this was like sort of a confirm. We're like, yo, this is the Infinity Saga. Like this
Yep.
is the stones. Like we're talking about the stones. I don't know if you guys knew, if you're too young to understand, but there was no such thing. Nobody named this or labeled this as an Infinity Saga. This shit was
Yeah.
just Marvel.
Yeah, yeah. Like just they
Yeah,
didn't even know. We didn't even know that there were phases until we started looking up shit on the internet.
yeah. And phases
You
weren't
know.
confirmed until phase 3 or something when they said,
Yeah.
okay, this is how it's gonna happen next. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
This was groundbreaking to us to finally see some sort of like big cosmic,
yeah,
like, to tie it in all together. Yes, we've had Avengers and all that stuff, but
yeah,
it wasn't the the good guys were tied in together, but the bad guys weren't a little bit. So the stones kind
yeah,
of like made us realize, oh shit,
yeah.
some
There's
shit's
something
brewing.
bigger at
Yeah,
play.
yeah. And
Yeah,
Thanos
same.
being revealed in Avengers kind of like was another icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
oh my
so
god,
good.
it's gonna be lit.
Yeah,
Um, for me and you, we were sort of familiar with Thanos, so this was like extra special for us. Like
yeah,
the imagination that we had in our heads as to what was about to happen.
yeah,
And like my first initial reaction, my brother was like, "Yo, some purple fucking guy is the bad guy, eh?" Because that's how my brother speaks, right? Yeah. What is he? Is he like sick? I'm like, they're gonna die. The first thing I said, I'm like, they're gonna get so fucked.
they have no hope.
Yeah. Like I'm like, if Marvel does this right, in terms of
Yeah,
power level, these guys will
yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah,
hard ass time fighting this
yeah,
dude.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So,
gonna have a tough time.
and they
Shout
did,
out to
man.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris. Well, they did.
Shit. I actually have this note when Odin was talking to Thor about Jane, because he was like really not having Jane. He's like, she get that thought out of her.
This guy said thought. Yeah, yeah,
Send her back. Send her
yeah.
ass back to Midgard. But he was actually telling Thor. I have my note here. It says Odin says these Asgard shorties are worth raiding, and
Oh,
Earth thoughts aren't worth a Toonie Tuesday and chill.
oh my god.
That's what he
Yo,
said.
now, was that the translation of that? Because that is rude AF and low key biggity. You know? Um, man, that is
Shit.
true though. He's like, yo, Lady Sif is looking kind of fine.
Yeah,
Jane Foster?
yeah,
No, 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 no. You gotta go with Shield and Sword. You can't go.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
what I mean? But
With this
obviously,
nerd.
Thor already had her hair wrapped around in his, and it's like, Father, you don't understand. It's done.
He's like, I like Princess Diaries. I don't want to see Xena.
Yeah, it's true, man. Why would you want local shit? You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. That's true.
Like, if you had a
Yeah.
chance to play at Evo, would you still go to NLBC that night? Hell
No
no,
way.
cut.
No way. They need to pay me to come.
Yeah, bro. That shit is like, when you're hitting a shorty from the West End. He's hitting a shorty
Mm.
from the off world, bro. This man is
Where's your boy? Off world.
yeah. This guy got hoes in different area realms.
Yo. 9 realms, 10 trillion
Uh,
souls.
that's what it is right there, bro. God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that was interesting. They kept saying convergence and like,
mm-hmm.
this was like a mini convergence, but like the convergence that I'm familiar with the comics explained, is that like it's different timelines as well that
Mm.
are converging.
Oh, I see. Like multiverse instead of realms.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
didn't
I
know about conversions in the comics, but that's pretty cool to hear that. I guess this is not entirely made for this movie, sort of taken
yeah,
out of context from another place. Wow. Um,
yeah,
maybe the multiverse thing was a little too early to
for
talk
sure.
about
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah,
one, so they went
for
with the
sure.
realms. Even in this one, it's kind of confusing. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, because
Um,
they had to rebuild the Bifrost, right?
yeah, yeah.
And we actually like um, in the Avengers when they couldn't get the contract for Jane Foster, they
Hmm.
just added her in saying
Oh
that
yeah,
she's
she's protected.
up north or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry, she's fine. Yeah,
But they address it sort of here when they first meet,
yeah. This is
because
New York type of thing. Yeah,
he was in New York, yeah,
yeah.
and she's like, I saw you on the news, and then like after that, she mentioned that I saw you on the news. He didn't answer shit. He just went into this like
Yeah. He also didn't
he
want to
like
say that.
touch her face.
My father forbid me from seeing. He didn't also want to say that, where it's like, my father
True.
kind of doesn't like you. You know what I mean? Montague Capulets,
Ah, yes,
type of thing.
yes.
Uh,
I love that. Merchant of Venice.
wow. So what it is? I like what's his name? Uh, fuck the Latino guy who played Luigi in Mario Brothers.
Oh, John Leguizamo.
Leguizamo, yeah, he
Yeah,
played
yeah.
Mercutio, right?
Nice.
Jeez, bro.
Mercutio,
Uh,
wherefore art thou?
I should watch that movie again. Leonardo DiCaprio was dope. Anyways, uh, the Mega Dark Elf. That's what I have him down as.
Mega Dark Elf.
Infiltrates Asgard. Kind of rushed,
Yeah,
and how that was came
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
fruition. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Yo, how does Heimdall not see these mans?
well, cause he's like you. Their magic will not affect you if you eat the sensu bean.
But everyone ate the sensu bean, like in the ship.
I guess so. I mean, he had the cloaking thing, so I guess he couldn't see that properly. He saw it
No,
later on. That was pretty
no.
badass though.
Well, he saw it. Like
Yeah, when he like
he saw the
ran.
invisible. That was like he took a
Yeah,
dagger. He's like, I'll take this ship down with a dagger.
yeah, that's pretty badass. But obviously, kind of
Yeah,
moot
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
6 million came through, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Lady Sif also gives Jane the stink eye. You see that when she was like
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
when
Yeah, she gave her that look.
Frigga was
She's
trying to
like,
protect her. It's like come with me, and Sif's like, oh,
she's like,
that's your boo now. That's your best friend. I see you. Okay. Well, guys, let us know if you're Team Sif or Team Foster. Uh, down on the comments below. We all know that, I don't even know who Edward is in this situation or who Jacob is, but somebody's getting
well,
imprinted for sure.
for sure. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, there's no demon babies and whatnot. Um, I have that down here. Heimdall taking down a fighter himself was pretty badass.
Yeah, it's so
Uh,
badass. Yo, but like the CG for Asgard is so good. It's good, like universe building, because we got to see these corners of Asgard that
mhm,
weren't ever like familiar with,
mhm.
and the plane scenes. It's like totally Star Wars,
Oh,
like
absolutely.
with the ground blasters and
Yeah,
so
with the
hilarious.
it looks like fucking what's that city that they were
Big ol'
in? The council city.
Naboo.
Yeah,
Oh,
Nabu.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pew pew
Pew pew
pew. Like
pew.
X,
Um,
X.
which is we get to
Oh,
see that. Sorry, go on.
the Thor and whenever he's like gotta go, and then like he throws his like cape out, like just jumps in the air,
Oh yeah, and
like
his cape pops out. Yeah, yeah, and he
yeah,
like catches the. That was
he
pretty
grabs
cool.
the
Out
hammer.
of the,
Yeah, so sick.
which is I guess the
Yeah,
same balcony that Thor finds out he's still worthy in Endgame, which was pretty cool.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That's cool.
but the Dark Elves, we see that they have. They're not necessarily strong in terms, just like the Asgardians in terms of brute strength, but their weapons are fits them well. It's like, they have more
Yeah,
laser guns than melee weapons. They have
yeah,
those like gravity grenades, black hole grenades, or
yeah.
whatever. So they have like dark elf magic in between them.
It's cool.
Um, yeah, really
Dark
cool.
magic. This
Yeah.
is dark magic shit. They're the ones who originated the Bifrost technology, because it's like it's dark magic.
hmm Oh yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. You're
Odin's.
right.
He stole that tech.
Yeah, that's why it takes a lot of energy for him to perform that dark magic, right?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and it shows you just how a formidable army the Dark
Dark
Elves
elves
are.
are
They're
for
on
sure.
par with us Guardians. They're the only ones that can really give a challenge
Yeah,
against them, aside from Surtur, as we see later on, that fucks them up. But I feel like that was probably
is that a
destiny,
failsafe in the?
fate.
That's a failsafe, or like, yeah, like you say, is destiny,
Yeah, because Thor
like
wanted that, right?
the Matrix, where there's always like a cycle.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
like a reborn, a rebirth, cleansing
yeah.
type of thing. Yeah.
Jeez.
We get to see Frigga fight a little bit. She was pretty good with the sword.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
fought
yeah.
Malekith for a little while, but obviously she got stabbed in the fucking body.
Oh
And
my God, kidneys.
we see her use her elusive powers that I guess Loki learned a lot from her.
Yeah,
Um,
she's a witch.
yeah, pretty cool.
She's a witch.
Loki was a real scumbag in this one, but he did another job. Man, fuck Tom Hiddleston, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yo, he was playing off of like the Avengers villain role, because it was too like cartoony for the Avengers
Hmm.
because that's like the
Right.
film,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
He
then
was
he
like
brought it
generic
back.
bad guy. Yeah. He brought
He
back
brought it back to
the other dimensions of
Shakespeare.
himself. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Especially when
dramatics.
when he's like Thor's like enough with the games, enough with the illusions, and we see the actual room, and he's like in distress, and he's like
Yeah,
he just lost his mom, and like one of the reasons
yeah,
was his fault, letting the dark elf go and
yeah,
destroy Asgard, and she was the only one that like liked him
yeah.
at the moment.
Exactly.
She was the only one that like believed that Loki isn't like
Yeah,
he's not really a bad guy, like he's just misunderstood, and like
yeah,
he wanted a throne, and he can't get it over his head that Thor was, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, he was never really meant for the throne because I'm not part of you guys. I'm Frost Giant. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bitch.
yeah.
We get to see that later on. But Frigga's death was pretty tragic in that one. Um, which is fitting because it makes it nice for Endgame to know that that really was, like, before she died. So it was like,
Yeah,
it was nice he
yeah.
got to see her.
That was a really good way to like not bring back uh, Odin, but we get to see more of like the relationship with Thor and his mom because we don't really get to see that in the first Thor and the second Thor movies. Not much.
This is the second Thor movie. Yeah.
Sorry. Uh,
But in Endgame, you mean,
in the
right?
third movie,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
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 yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. We got to see a little bit more of that. In this one, it was a little bit more on Frigga and Loki's side, which we get to see that
yeah.
they're more stronger as mother and son compared
Yeah.
to Loki.
Thor, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
um,
Gotcha.
pretty crazy. Crazy how they chose to
Uh,
go there in Endgame at that timeline, which makes sense. 'Cause,
yo, that one scene where Darcy's new boyfriend lifted that car and crushed the
yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
elves. Those jokes.
Yeah,
It was like hovering.
he saw it hovering. Like, it's pretty crazy.
She's like, "You saved me." I did.
He just are making out.
Yes. What a nerd.
What else you got there?
Um, I'm already at underwhelming win, and collector scene was sick,
Oh yeah, that was
and
at the end.
one
Yeah.
down, five to go.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that was like super confirmed. Like, yeah, we're about
yeah,
to get some crazy stuff happening.
yeah.
Uh,
That scene worth seeing this movie alone,
yeah, because the collector was a huge
like
deal.
confirming it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
collector himself
so
was a
good.
huge deal in the universe where
Yeah,
it's like, oh my god, they're not
yeah.
pulling any more punches. Uh,
Yep. And they almost said that the Tesseract was a stone because it's not wise to keep two Infinity Stones to get close
oh
together.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
oh my god, this is one of them. And what's the other one? Tesseract.
yeah,
Got him.
yeah. Got him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
And then the super end credit scene was so fraudulent.
Are you talking about the? Was it the twins? No, that
No,
was the.
when Thor came down to see Jane
And they made
and
out.
she ran out. Oh,
Yeah.
so lame. The
Cheesy
lighting was
factor. The
terrible.
cheesy factor went up a little bit there. The corniness went up a little bit there. Uh, not a
Yeah,
big
but
fan.
that wasn't even Jane Foster that ran out and
Was that a
kissed
double?
Thor. No, it was Thor's actual or Chris Hemsworth wife
Oh
in real
wow,
life.
that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
and they look kind of the same from the back, so they just cut up a scene.
Was that on purpose? Like,
Um,
because he didn't want to kiss Jane? I mean, what's her name?
I don't know the story behind it, but I don't think it was ever meant to like go on in the main cut, and then at the end
Dang.
they're like, you know what, we can't leave Jane hanging again, and then they put it in.
Oh yeah, it kind of felt like that actually, where it's kind of
Yeah,
like a necessary addition at the end, where
yeah,
it's like,
because yeah, like Jane is like she's an aunt to these like
oh
gods,
ah.
right?
Yeah, it's honestly Jane is just there so that the girlfriend doesn't mind coming to watch Thor with you. You know, it's kind of like
It's true. It's true.
It's like, come
So
on. It's
much
like, I
date,
don't
so
understand
much date
anything.
potential.
There's a girl there. Like, all right, fine. There's a romance there a little bit. Okay, fine, I'll come.
He's hot. He's like he has such good hair in this movie.
Yeah. Just like
Yeah,
the Greatest
everyone
Showman.
did.
That's how girls do, right? Come
Yeah.
on, Wolverine's there. Really? And the guy gets suckered into it.
You're like, ooh, Hugh Jackman. I
Yeah.
mean, Wolverine.
Wolverine. Yeah. All right. Let's tackle this through. Traditional sea burial was done for Frigga. Uh, got on a boat, flying boat, floating boat. Globes of light reminded me of a lantern festival. Pretty cool. We get to see her glitter go into Valhalla, where she
Nice,
drinks ale for
nice,
the rest of her life.
nice.
Um,
It's a lot of carbs.
yeah, that's a lot of carbs. Thor and Odin have switched places in terms of how a king's mindset should be.
Yeah, man.
Um, this is where like the All Father and Father cross the line in terms of like using, because Odin was just super angry. He just lost his wife to this fucking dark elf, and he's not about to be beaten by an army that they have beaten before, especially his father did, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, however much blood we shall spill for Asgard till every warrior's last drop or
Jeez.
whatever. And Thor's like, yo, this guy's a
Chill.
madman.
It's like chill, daddy.
Chill,
Chill, daddy. Chill.
daddy, chill. What the fuck is even that? um,
Daddy, chill. Yeah, I know. I know
which
that.
which brings Thor to make his own plan and escapes from Asgard, and he had to tell. That was sick. Where he's like, "You summoned me here as fast as you can. What did you want,
Yeah, that
Heimdall?"
was
He's
sick.
like, "Treason, my
Reason.
lord." Who? Me. And
Me.
he like drops his sword. I was like, "Yo!"
I
Heimdall's
thought they were gonna fight though. That would have been sick.
dude. He was about to kneel in protest. That's what
Jeez.
he was about to do.
Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Uh.
For the right reasons.
Yeah, for the right reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where we get to see Thor and Loki end up working. It's a little bit like Ragnarok. You surely must be desperate to ask me for help.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Iconic.
Um, it is a slight callback to where Loki could leave the realm in other ways, and this is where we get to see that it's just some crack in the cliff
Yeah.
uh, with a
But
phone signal there or
but
whatever.
how? How did he know that? Like he's a trickster.
He's a
He's not
trickster,
a
man. He's a trickster. He never reveals. A magician never reveals his secrets.
yeah, but he's not a magician. But he does actually practice the same kind of like stuff that Doctor Strange does. Is that correct?
A little bit, yeah. Like
Oh,
twisting realities a little bit, and
right. Yeah,
fooling and
yeah. The
trickery and stuff
illusion.
like that.
Right.
Yeah. Um, Thor and Loki share their grief through arguing. It's kind of like a sibling thing.
Yeah.
Loki blaming each other for mom's death, and Thor says she didn't want us fighting, stuff like that. So I kind of like this movie because of how Thor and Loki interacted with each other. It's kind of like a
Yeah, yeah.
growing thing where it's like, do you trust me and stuff like that. And obviously that
Yeah.
conflict with Malekith later on was fucking crazy,
Yeah.
where it was like, because the whole time I was like, this is a trick, this is a trick, this is a trick, and it got a little bit real. Uh,
With the arm cut off, you're like,
yep.
ah.
Another phase 2 arm cut, guys. We found
Yeah.
another one. Put
Wow.
it in the comments below. Okay, for the
Amazing.
next movie, what the other arm cut is. Um, the ether comes out of
The
Jane.
Killian is the arm cut.
Yeah, in Iron Man
Right.
3.
Right.
And then this one is Thor with the
Thor,
fake
yeah.
arm cut with Loki. Um, so yeah, the ether comes out from Jane, but Thor's plan failed because
Yeah.
he couldn't kill the
Destroy
ether.
it.
He couldn't destroy it. It still went
Yeah.
into Malekith, and he escapes, and they fight Mega Dark Elf dude.
Yeah.
The Super Dark Elf was fucking using Tenderizer on Thor. You see that, dude?
That was
He was
crazy.
fucking. Yeah,
X.
he was about to do level 3, I think. Like,
The ground bounce before it. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Loki dies. God, that was really convincing, by the way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
on,
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Real Shakespearean, like with the fucking like speech and all. Like
Yeah.
nice.
It was kind of like unreal, but then if you really like look at it and you're like, yeah, he could have, he definitely could have,
Yeah,
I guess like concocted it in a way to make it seem like he got stabbed. Like his illusions, things go
yeah,
through him, right? Stuff like that. Like there's
yeah.
just things that later on that you're like, yeah, Loki definitely could have,
He should never be trusted.
yeah,
Like
a little bit too much trust in that one. And the first time watching the movie, we don't really get to see him turning into the guard. Like that was like, you know, now we're like, oh yeah, that's him. Wow, that was him. He was the guard.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
crazy. Like I never saw that before. Like how stupid was I?
Wait, the um.
The guard
Say
that
again.
the guard that told Odin that like, but we did find a body. Remember? And his dad's like Loki, and he like smiled a bit. I'm like, that was him. That was Loki.
Dude, I did
Yeah.
not see that. I'm just like, I'm actually like taken aback.
Ah, dude, if you watch that scene again, I'm like, that's fucking Loki. Cause like,
God, like, because he needs to be casting the spell near
yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy.
So wherever there's trickery, Loki's close by always.
Loki is god of trickster, man.
Yeah,
That guy's a
yeah.
G.
That's Odin. Like he's All Father. He tricked the All Father.
Yeah, that's yeah. He did trick the Allfather. See, he only
Wow.
had one eye. He couldn't see coming.
Jeez.
Um, Jane miraculously finds a portal in a tunnel. J-
Yeah. How the fuck?
yeah, remember that one? They just kind of walk and then
I know.
they
Come
go
on. Like
into a
how?
car. Yeah, that was kind of
It's so
weak.
far fetched.
Weak.
Yeah.
A little bit of like, let's just make this narration happen because we don't know how else to let them go back to Earth and uh,
Yeah.
do these things. That was kind of really weak, man, in terms of like,
So if anyone could just do that, like,
yeah, um, yeah, yeah. I mean, it was cool. Like the fight scene with Malekith was pretty cool with them going in and out of portals and different realms and stuff like that. But it wasn't like, I don't know, man. This is why like Thor 3 was, no one was really excited for an announcement for
yeah,
Thor 3 until the trailer came out because 1 and
yeah,
2 was like low key anticlimactic. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Because we got Red Skull, which was a dope battle. Then Ivan, as much as crazy, it was crazier than
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
uh,
Just didn't do it for a lot of people.
yeah.
And then Thor got a
Why do
haircut.
they gotta fight on Earth, man? What is up with us Guardians fighting other people on Earth?
I don't know. It's like bland as fuck on Earth, and like it was so dark and blue, and
Yeah, like
you
you
know it
guys.
was in London of all places too. Like,
Yeah, and it just
or I
shows
think
you
it
how
was
like shitty Midgard is in comparison to like battling.
Asgard. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the other
Colorful
fucking
sunsets every day.
yeah 3 stars or 3 moons or whatever.
Yeah, it's too much.
Um, the hammer trying to follow Thor in between worlds was pretty X. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, that was sick. Yeah, actually, one of the cooler parts of this movie was,
Yeah,
yeah,
seeing how the mechanics of Mjolnir works in terms of like, yeah, it's pretty weird. It's like an automated
yeah.
thing where it's just like,
It's literally magical hammer.
yeah, like no matter
Yeah,
where you are, anywhere, dude,
yeah.
like it will come to you.
That's
Like
cool.
that was really
That's
cool.
sick.
And they had to make the final like hit like super dramatic. Remember, it's like it's taking forever for the hammer to come,
Yeah.
uh, which is
Nice.
crazy. He that was actually a snapback.
Oh,
Yeah, because he put him in
phew.
another portal. Remember to
Yeah.
snapback to
The
another
guy
planet.
flew back.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. That was one frame. It was fucking
Nice.
fast as fuck.
It's hard to anticipate.
Yeah. Loki played a pretty convincing Odin at the end, talking to Thor.
Yeah.
Um, but there was a little bit of like fishing for compliments for Loki, a little
Yeah.
bit on that one, which a little clue. We just thought that he was kind of getting sentimental because he thought
Yeah.
Loki was actually better. But psych, son, he was Loki. Who was phone?
Switch.
You know what I mean?
Then who was phone?
Like, what's that one? The Fast and Furious one? Man, I almost got you. You were in my face. I'm in your
Yeah,
face.
I'm in your face.
Turns into his face. One of the classic memes back then.
I love that one.
Uh, all right. So mid-credit scene is where we get introduced to the Collector, Tinavir
Yeah.
Tavine, the
What a
Collector.
name. What a
Uh,
name.
yep. This is where the ether was put, and this is where Thanos gets it later on, right?
Yeah. This planet.
This
What is it
planet,
called? Nowhere. They're
nowhere.
on nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
And we see this place again at Guardians, right?
Sorry, say it again. Oh yeah, yeah, we do.
We see,
This is
yeah.
where, this is where they pretty much
Yeah.
try to sell the Collector the Power Stone, as well.
Yeah.
Power
So
Stone.
really cool segue into the introducing other cosmic, like, you know,
Yeah,
other cosmic people, not just as Guardians.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like nowhere is not really part of the Nine Realms, so now they're kind of expanding it a little further. Like
Yeah.
we're going into like other territories because after
Yeah.
this, um, it's, I think Guardians, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
After this, Guardians and Winter Soldier.
Sorry, yeah, Winter Soldier and Guardians. So yeah, so it was a setup to like expanding more than just the Milky Way or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What is the theme of this movie? Did you find a theme in this movie? I can't really
It was all over the place, to be
find a
honest with
theme.
you. It's like,
Like,
well, it's always about family and about how the dad didn't like the girlfriend. And
you're
then,
right, family dynamics in this one. Yeah, this was Meet the Parents, as
oh
Guardian
yeah,
style. Yeah, like
yeah,
Mr. Fokker and Gaylord Fokker or whatever.
yeah.
Um, do you have any more notes before we wrap this up? I have
Man, these were like two unexciting movies to see so
oof,
far.
oof. Um,
So
I have a few more. I can't even. I don't even know if this is something. The cargoes were shaped like Stonehenge information. I mean, formation. Um, remember the cargo in where this reality stone was hidden, hinting
oh
that
yeah,
maybe it
yeah,
was it was the stone had something to do with the actual Stonehenge.
Stonehenge, yeah, like the Celtic. Is it the Celts? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah, the Celtics. Yeah.
Yeah. Celtic Guardian.
Wow, Yu-Gi-Oh! Stanley cameos as a mental patient. Not
Yeah.
bad. Not bad in this one.
Can I have your shoe back? Can I have my shoe back? Got him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The extraction of the ether from Malekith reminded me of fucking Dormammu's level 3. Remember that? It like zoomed
Ooh.
in from the eye into the orb or whatever. It was fucking crazy.
Uh,
Just
welcome to my
fucking,
realm.
fucking crushed
And
it.
the
Fucking
and that sound. Wow.
exactly, because he
Yeah,
was like from the
like
planet
that.
to the eyes, right? It's crazy.
Yes.
Power of the Destructor. Uh, During the portal fights, we see them go into the frost giant planet. Yep, and we saw the beast again. Way better looking this time than the first time we
Yeah.
saw it
It's
because
so bad
the
before.
CGI was so
Yeah,
bad back
it's
then.
CG is so good now. At
Yeah,
this point, it's starting to get better.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Saving
this
grace.
super secret ending is with the beast still in Earth roaming around. So I
Yeah.
don't know if they're gonna follow up with that uh, or not. But guys, that was
Probably.
pretty much Thor 2. Um, all right, so here's the final verdict. Is it better than the first time that you watched it? And what
Yeah.
is your
Yeah.
new rating on this?
I would probably give it a +1 over what I currently like rated it at.
Plus one.
Or
Wow.
yeah, +1 from before.
Dude, we
Like
have it like super last. Like C tier,
I would bump it up. I would
the
bump it up.
last one. I would, it's
I would put
hard.
Iron Man 3 behind this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. I can see that happening. Wow.
because I like Thor and the lore.
Yeah, well, it's preferences, right? Like, if you really like the superhero, and I like Thor too, but obviously, as you said, I'm in love with Tony Stark. I don't know why.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, uh, and that was proof that Gerald has a heart. Um,
Jeez. But
uh,
also, it gets destroyed. by
Yeah.
Iron Man dying.
Um, it's hard for me to put this any higher because if I put it higher, it's higher than the Hulk. So
Nice.
I would probably
Hulk
keep
is
it the
pretty good
same. But
too.
honestly, like this movie is not that bad than the
Yeah.
first time that I watched it. And
Yeah.
I think the first time that I watched it, I was still in that mindset of just like I want superheroes, pew pew pew. I want action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
I was still young and substance wasn't really something that I was looking for or sentimental value because this one had a lot in terms of like Loki and Thor's relationship,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Loki and his mom's relationship, stuff like that. So and Heimdall as well, showing us that he is really loyal to Thor, uh,
Yeah.
even if the
My
king.
brother.
Yeah, that's what he said. My brother, my brother.
My brother.
Uh, guys, let us know what you think about the analysis we just did. I know that was about 2 hours and 10 minutes long. It's a,
No way.
it's amazing how like even if these movies aren't that great, we
No.
still end up giving you 2 hours of content. I have no idea how
It's
this is
fine.
happening, but
It's fine, you know.
uh,
Put it on while you watch both of these movies. It's
yeah,
like a director's cut.
yeah, it's gonna be it looks like live commentary and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
good. It's
let us
good.
know what we missed. Let us know if there's any other information that we should know in terms of like production, Easter eggs, pop culture references, or comic book homage. We're always here to learn. Once again, don't subscribe, don't comment, don't follow us. We
Follow
don't want
us.
your shit, dude. Okay, leave us
Go
alone.
away.
Go, go away.
Go away.
Go away. As we said, it's not over. Um, the next two movies that we're gonna watch. Are you excited for this? Winter Soldier and
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy
Yes.
Volume One. We're finally getting into some
Yeah.
good stuff, guys.
Two good
How
movies.
many times have you seen Winter Soldier
Probably five
already?
times
Oh
already.
my
Five.
god! Yeah,
Yeah.
this is my fourth, I think, rewatch, and I'm like,
Nice.
I don't care. This is
Nice.
happening. This movie's got like,
It is. It is. Oh my
and
god. Just thinking about the opening scene when he jumped off the plane.
oh, do you have a parachute?
Next.
No.
No. No, he does not.
Dude. Oh my god. Uh, and we get to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, a new addition to the MCU
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
timeline, and totally caught us off guard.
Yeah.
I got uppercutted to the gut watching
Yeah.
this movie because the trailer it was funny, but not as it was like Ant Man, you know, like Ant Man was like that where it's like the
Yeah.
trailer's pretty good, but then when you watch the movie, like yo, this movie's sick.
So sick.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
can't wait,
Yeah.
guys, to discuss that with you. If you love Marvel shit, then this is the place to be. We
Yes,
might not
sir.
be called Push Block Chronicles the next time we make a video, but for now,
Yeah.
this is PBC, Peanut Butter
Yeah,
Chocolate.
PBC. Yes, sir.
We might call
Thanks for
ourselves
joining.
Peanut Butter Chocolate. Thanks for joining, guys, and we'll see you next time for another
Yep.
2 hour session of MCU analysis.
Donate
Donate
right there.
to the Patreon.
Yes.
Below, we accept cash, credit, checks, and of course, shorties. So,
Shorties.
I'll see you guys next time. And remember, what did I say again? I don't even know. I'm gonna end it
Stay
up like,
free. I don't know.
stay free. Jeez. Fuck Joey
Stay
Cooler.
free.
Peace.
Yep.